So, well, I guess we'll get started then. Last time, when you guys killed the necromancer known as Jacob Foster, you found his dungeon under his home with a teleportation circle and a broken, used clone jar in the entrance of the chamber. You killed a revenant, found a detailed map of what appears to be movements of the Empire's army. You found many things, including a stick, a vial of water, a strange doll, a full-length bodysuit made of lettered humanoid sins sewed in a patchwork fashion. One of the things you found was a set of black candles, used for any assortment of rituals, but decided to light them, not only with, not only without identifying them, but all at once even. Immediately there was an ethereal whisper that came from the candles, and a warmth from the glass shard Vorik had in his pack. When viewed, you saw a dark fairy realm with a cave-like home to a figure that walked on screen. You unwittingly contacted an archfey by the name of Saelin Lyasatra, who introduced herself as being of the Unseelie Court, one of the major fey organizations that governs the cold seasons, the darker sides of nature, and everything that occurs therein. She asked many questions about the material plane, as she has not been paying attention for the last millennia or so, saying that she's on holiday, and asked after Lysere, specifically saying that she heard a rumor from one of her underlings about the elf and her wolf, and was extremely interested, especially in meeting them if possible. At her last query before Vorik's mirror shard was put into the bag of holding, severing the connection from the black candles that triggered the connection, she tried to pry about the name of Phelan, specifically if Lysare's family name was Phelan. You were left after this to collect your thoughts about the meeting, but also left with the task of clearing the dungeon of dangers, if it's to be used for anything productive. You fought a Hydra, nearly having Ugbor dragged underwater, and Munson hit by a bombardment of sequential attacks, only for Flint to jump in and dispatch the creature, probably saving them both, but not before losing Squimbly in the process. Vorik was able to help you overcome the halls of time after realizing his body was immune to aging. At the back of the hall, you found a second recently broken clone jar. When that happened, Lysere came up over the group chat to let you guys know that you had company. Coming out of the house, wearing a full-length, wrinkled, and supple flesh suit, Vorik found what he was told was his father and one other tall humanoid with reddish hair, who escorted him from Sunder, where he found you all by scrying on you, at least once when you thought it was the mysterious figure Mother Night Whisper, who was in charge of most of your woes. Now, the party is having agreed to at least travel to the Phoenix Cave to see what can be done and what is to come. As you travel, your group heavy with extra members. You round the bend and ascend the hill leading to the cave. And I wonder, where'd my things go? Pictures, where did you go?
I missed you so.
There we go. So, Thinner and Hexania looks at his son, wounded and pale-skinned, wearing a patchwork of saggy skin as you guys walk, and just wonders at what he knows to be his son, but doesn't start conversation at this time. Then, looking from Vorik to the rest of your group, so he really doesn't remember me? What does he remember? What happened to him?
He don't remember too much.
No.
Man, I really want to tell you, but I don't know if would you be all right hearing it?
He's dead.
Yeah.
He died, man.
Okay.
We
So
brought him
Try,
back.
yeah, I tried to bring him back, and something fought against it.
Vorik pipes up. I'm alive, but my memories aren't all with me. I guess.
You're like you're like in a half state of alive. Let's be real here.
Uh, his father speaks up. Do you remember your mother or what happened in Sunder? Your childhood, your childhood friends, your bargain with Tusvavas Tadiku to work on a ship to work your way out? Anything? Vorik just shakes his head.
He's kind
Uh,
of like a blank slate in a sense.
Thinner looks at you, pal. You know, there was this one time we saw him working in the wheatgrass fields when he was younger. He fancied this halfling girl and worked his way over to her from where he was. He tried talking to her, and both of them neglected their duties too long for the postman. He was called the postman for a reason. He had guards grab both of them, but Void didn't care for that. He flopped around and broke free of his hold, and beat one of the guards to within an inch of his life. The postman just watched. Void took the whipping for both of them that day, but I never saw him more content with himself. I was proud of him. Am proud of him.
Sounds like our guy.
Yeah, it does sound like him.
After this,
Both adorable and somebody almost dies.
You don't take too kindly to authority.
no, he doesn't. Never has.
He was great in our gang.
This short conversation is punctuated by you getting up to the entrance of the cave that you had seen before. So this, you say, is where the phoenix roosts or something? Did I hear that right?
Well, he used to.
Okay, well, real quick, I did a bad. Never mind, fixed it. I accidentally dismissed the menu from Roll20 and I couldn't find it. Okay, got it.
That's okay, buddy. We all made a couple oops-a-daisies in that cave.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I think I will wait here while you conduct whatever business you have with. I'll stay here with my new friend, Jeremy, and he will continue to escort me, being safe and out of the way. He looks at Vorig, if that's okay. Vorig looks at you guys.
Work. You wanna try to talk to him or anything? Maybe try to rekindle some of them old memories you have.
Vorig thinks for a second and kind of shakes his head. Maybe after we take care of this.
All right. See you. Don't spy on us.
So, Libor, Palinel, Flint, Munson, and Wassarian Torin enter the Phoenix Cave. Let us traverse there.
We return.
You return. And,
Oh shit.
yeah, I got you.
No. Sometimes I feel like he moves the map around. It'll like just sling you off the map, not stuck down at the bottom.
Okay, let's see. There's Flint, Munson, Agibor, Vorik, and Bippity Boppity. Okay. So you enter the cave and feel the warmth of the lava flow hit you with a familiar heat. It's uncomfortable, but it's not unbearable. Once you reach the main chamber of the cave, Waseri would turn to your group, Torn behind her. Um, well, we intended to reestablish the bird. Yes. Do you have any idea what to do, or have we decided what's going on?
Got me to hear me.
Barely, but yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would try to tell the group that I believe
Yeah.
Dude, I'm actually so mad right now because he's completely legible at all of the parts of his statement that don't it like he's
Yeah.
like I would tell them and
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
with
It's like
But
perfectly
most
censored.
importantly, never, ever.
Um,
For
once
real
again-
though, buddy. Could we get that again?
he dropped. I think he's gonna try and reconnect in a second. Oh, there he is. He's back. Maybe
better.
that is a little better.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I'm driving through town going into country, so yeah, it's kind of back and forth.
Yeah, not your fault.
Way clearer now though.
I would tell them is that with me and Flint working together and looking at everything that we can and kind of doing a brief study, I believe I take the inner core of the Phoenix and I send it back into the ashes to reverse it. And Flint has an egg to offer the Phoenix.
Okay, so we just plant the core in the ashes, let it do its thing, and then we present the egg to make amends. Yes, that's the long and short of it.
I believe so, yes. And we will, I mean, that's what I believe. That's the lore I've seen. I'm hoping that is 100% accurate, and I'm just hope for the best.
Yes, that seems like the least get ourselves killedy kind of way to operate the next
It's as good as I've got.
bit.
Well, Mr. Flint, if you wanted to do the honors, please feel free.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Phoenix wants to go round 2. We can go round 2.
And Flint, that where I'm drawing is where the pile of ashes are for the phoenix that still remain.
Okay,
I'm so sorry, man. It's garbled again. I feel so bad. I don't nothing to do for it, but
I just love that he's trying. Like-
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's cool.
He's giving it his best.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that Mr. Munson, if you'd be so kind as to join me in this little process, and we'll just both move up here close to what used to be the Phoenix. Yes, let's do it.
Indeed.
And we will bury the Phoenix core in the ashes, and then take a big step back.
Okay. You place the core within the ashes and cover it up, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you wait a minute, and nothing seems to be happening right now. The cave is silent, except for your inbreathing.
Okay, well,
The egg.
I'm going to scoot up here
Mm-hmm.
and just pop the egg down in the ashes with the core,
Okay.
and then take another great big step back. Actually, a couple because I'm 3 feet tall.
Okay. Sure. Um, you.
Ah, good idea, Munson. Add heat to the ashes. Here's the thing last time I added heat to something, we had a really bad time.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right?
We could summon something from another world that's terrifying.
Or maybe we could just use that tinderbox I think Pell might be carrying around.
Yeah. I pull it out. I'll waddle over this little thing. And I guess I pull out a piece of
Flint.
dry
You pull out a
cloth.
piece of flint.
Flint, fire, steel, and
Hey
pitch.
now.
Okay.
I hold flint in my hand,
Okay.
and I'll just try to strike it,
Okay.
catch it on fire.
So you're striking. You're taking your striking material and striking a spark. Now, did you say something about using tinder at all, or no? Are you striking directly into the ashes?
Yeah, I'll say it is a dry cloth soaked in light oil.
Okay. So you take the cloth and maybe tear it up, pinch it, aerate it a little bit, place it within the ashes, and start striking. It only takes a couple tries for the oil in the rag to catch and begins to burn, and the ashes don't catch on fire. Nothing happens for a moment. The fire burns. Eventually, the tinder is used up, and the fire goes out. Nothing's happened.
This isn't enough fire.
All right, we doing it, boys? Is this how it's gonna be?
Backing up.
I would like not to shoot the egg. Agor steps back behind the rock.
It likes fire. It's tough. It's a fire boy.
I will have.
If it likes fire, there's lava over here. Can we do something with the lava?
I will have Flint.
Yes, grab a bucket.
I'll just get some with my hands real quick. No, I'm kidding.
So Flint, can you make me a perception check? Okay. Flint, you pay close attention to the pile of ashes and the egg that you've arranged, and try to find something that's happening, even a slow process. But nothing seems to be happening. But in contrast to the lava's red glow in this area and the daylight coming through the skylight of this cave area, you perceive a blue glow that begins to illuminate the cave and realize that it's coming from Lacere. She's looking at the ashes in obvious disappointment, but the blue magic that constantly swirls beneath her skin of her arm and her chest seems to be building. The runes themselves are beginning to glow with increasing intensity, and she seems to notice at the same time you do. As she does, she looks up with a look of some sort of acknowledgement. Move aside, please. And she begins walking towards the ashes. And as her and Torin get to the ashes, a silvery smoke swirls around her feet, coming not from the ashes, but from the runes laid into Torin's fur behind her, which are swirling and glowing just like hers. And the magics of them both seem to swirl in the air together and flow in front of them. The air of the cave begins to tremble in response to this power. She then kneels, pauses, before laying her rune-marked left hand over the phoenix core in the pile that you have assembled. She closes her eyes, and the blue and silver runes on her and Torin begin to build almost to an almost blinding flash that fills the cave, centered on where her hand rests over the core, and then it dissipates. The pile starts to glow, and she steps away. The ashes start to pull together slightly, and they bulge in the center to cover the core entirely in ash. And then as a red light glows from the heart of the pile, it stops and the ashes deflate. Then a plumed head on a long neck rises slowly out of the ashes. Wings burst outward from the sides of the pile, and a low screech is heard as Lyseri takes another few steps back. Let me pop that over there.
It's a boy!
The bird, as the bird appears, Lyseri takes a further step back and then bows her head in respect. The bird stands as tall as flint in its newborn state. It flaps its wings, screeching again, and turns towards everyone, standing proudly with its wings extended. What are you guys doing?
Ugbor watches curiously. Yeah. Hands are like at his sides. He's like ready to run if he has to.
Flint is going to take Lyseri's lead and just sort of do a cautious little bow, demonstrating that he is no threat to the Phoenix.
Tail's gonna be like, sorry about before, and then bow to.
Okay. The bird looks at your group, scanning the area, attentively listening to Pellinel as he speaks, then looks down at the egg that is placed now in front of it. After landing on the egg, the phoenix turns to face Lyseri and Torin, pauses for a moment, blinking. They look up to meet its gaze. Then it lowers its head in a bow back to all of you. Raises its head again, holding your gaze for a moment before it steps up and latches its grasp onto the egg with its talons and launches into the air with it as its wings make a large gust of warm wind in its wake as it rises up and over to the skylight of the cave with the egg in its clutch, and then disappears into the sky.
We'll never forget you!
You guys want to give that thing a name now? It's like it's technically reborn. What about Moltres?
I was thinking Beavis, but I like yours better.
What about Oh-Ohs?
Lyseri then steps a little in front of the group, providing some space. Now that that's settled, we need to clear some things up, apparently.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit to talk about.
Earlier,
Yeah, we've got some trauma to unpack, don't we?
so
So much drama.
I asked you, are you sure you want me to tell Thanarin about Vorik's situation? Not because I am shameful of what was done, but as you seem to believe, but I was trying out of respect not to shame Vorik in front of his father. Vorik committed a crime and was justly convicted of that crime, and I carried out my people's judgment. I am Lysere Banebreeze, sword arm of the Rowanwood, and you cannot shame me. She turns directly to Ugbor.
What did Ugbor do?
I've held my peace and my patience this long out of respect for your grief, but I've had just about enough. It seems that you, in particular, have something you'd like to say, as you keep taking shots at me. To clear the air, can you tell me what exactly it is you have against me?
Oh. Okay. So, you want to do this now?
I think it is important that we do.
Okay.
Definitely with Vorhic's dad outside, yes.
That was my intent.
That little charade there that you all called justice isn't justice in, like, everywhere outside of Rowanwood.
Ah, yes, the orcish belief in strength above all else. All right, then. Let's dig into this. And she smiles, but it's a vicious, more like a wolf baring its teeth. Of your group, you are the strongest physically, yes?
No. I'm one of the weakest.
Mm-hmm. You defend
They
your
kicked
friends.
me out.
No. Of your friends here. Your group that you travel with.
Yeah.
You defend them in battle, right?
Yeah, sorta.
Why?
They travel with me.
Why is it... Go ahead.
They support me when I need them.
Why, then, is it any different from me? Why is it clear and good that you fight to defend your people, but I may not do the same? At the trial, just before your friend was executed.
What you did was not fighting.
At the
What
trial,
you did was like a parent who like spanks their child. You just held him down and decided he didn't deserve to live no more. And that was that.
has it ever occurred to you that your friend murdered a friend of mine? Why are you justified in your anger, but I, my people, and John's family were not? One was unprovoked murder, the other was justice. Can you truly not see the difference? You hear a low rumble from Torin that kind of fills the air. And for the first time, he projects his thoughts into your mind. You feel that his mind is different, snarling and wild like the beast he is, but touched with strange mists and music that surely must be courtesy of Lysere. The image he projects of Vorik's death reminds you clearly at whose hands, or rather jaws, Vorhik met his end. Like his bondmate, he is not ashamed of what he did, and it was necessary in defense of his people, but he is less than fond of you blaming Lysere for his actions. You also get the sense from the tinge of his thoughts that he only kept his teeth from your throat, Ugbor, over the insults to this point at Lysere's request and respect for Vorik's friendship. At the trial, just before your friend was executed, you tried to intervene on his behalf. Why do that? You say that only the strongest deserve to live, but he had been overcome by our superior strength. I remember very clearly that you tried to charge us before the Archmage bound you to your seat. And to be clear, that was not done to protect us, but done as a mercy to protect you from me, because everyone in that room but you knew how that fight would have ended. Even you, as the strongest of your group, were overcome by our Archmage's superior strength that day. So, if it were truly only strength that you valued, then you would not be angry with me now, because regardless of Vorik overcoming Belar in fair combat, which it wasn't, so just so we're all clear, Vorik himself was then overcome by us, and by that logic deserved his execution. But it isn't only strength that you value, is it? And it's not the reasons Vorik was executed. You value your friend, which is admirable, whether or not he was right or wrong. You aren't mad at me or Torn for killing him. You're angry at Vorik for his weakness and getting himself killed in the first place. But he is not here for you to entirely be mad at. You're mad at yourself for being too weak to stop it.
I'm actually mad at whoever it was that ripped his soul in pieces. I don't blame you. I don't blame you for executing him. I'm upset that it happened, but I understand that that was your law, that is your way, and he, like it or not, faced his punishment. However, we never got a chance we never got a chance to see him whole again. We never got a chance to see him brought back together.
I appreciate that.
As we knew him. And then Pelinel here has been racked with guilt because he thinks, oh, was there something? Pardon me for speaking for you, but it seemed to me that Pelinel was blaming himself for this mishap. So now we have a friend who, Maiden of Iron, only knows what has happened to him, what's been lost, what might be regained. Who knows? We have a friend here, a devout believer in his faith, who's now wondering if what he did wrong.
I appreciate that, Flint. It is regretful, but the failed resurrection was the gods' doing, not mine or anyone else's in that room. No one can stand in the way when the gods decide to act, but on that note, you, and she turns to Pel, you were very brave to try. Your faith in Saloon must be very strong. You have my sincerest respect for what you managed to do that day in the name of your goddess. She turns back to Ugbor. Are you telling me that you would rather we not have given you the option to bring him back, because that was the only part of this we were able to do? Are you telling me you would rather not have him back at all, even though your cleric was able to win him back, even in part, when so many, myself included, were killed for even a fraction of what they lost?
So,
I know better than most, as the years following my husband's death proved, about misplaced rage. She takes a step closer to you. But if you leave it misplaced, it will do nothing but consume you, no one else. I truly understand your grief, friend, I do. But he was wrong, and he attacked a man unprovoked who had someone more powerful waiting in the wings for him to defend him. She draws herself upright, and presents more properly and looks at you. Well, if you'd rather not acknowledge your own hypocrisy, if it would help, we can just settle this right here and now and ask who is stronger and who deserves to be shamed. If that is your way, and if it would help clear your conscience.
I'm pretty tapped out. I can't bring a whole lot of people back to life right now.
It is not our intent to harm, but to communicate a point if it would help. Only to communicate. But if it would behoove you otherwise to acknowledge these facts that I'm trying to present to you, I would love to move on.
What's Torin saying?
Torin is encouraging.
It's funny too because if you guys saw the Dungeon Master's dog, that icon would not be far off. You could straight up put a saddle on that German Shepherd of his. That thing is huge.
Oh, German Shepherds.
Yeah, he's
some
baby.
of the best.
But Vasari looks to you, waiting, and she puts a hand on her sword on her side.
Just to be clear, are we all fighting you, or?
No, this would be. I think it would be a 1v1.
If you wanted.
They're kind of a package, those two.
Yeah.
This would be between me and Ugbor if Ugbor felt necessary to determine the strength. But it is entirely up to him.
Lisseri, I'm not gonna fight you.
Then can we let this go, please?
For now.
I understand.
Can we
being
do
mad.
what we can to figure out what happened with Vorik? Can you commit to that?
I would love to. If I have anything to contribute, I absolutely will. But we have to be on the same side now. There is too much at stake. If there has to be an invasion in the Rowanwood in 3 weeks or so, we need to prepare. If Rowanwood falls, Fiola, Cliffcrag, Bayside, they won't stand a chance. And if I can't trust you not to sneer in my face, how can I trust you to defend our backs?
Ugbor rolls his eyes and looks to the side.
What if we agree to fight for Rowanwood, but we get to make whatever faces we want?
It might not come across in my attitude. I have one of those faces. But I do appreciate your air lightning jokes, Flint. But as leader of our forces, we have to be able to trust you. You have done nothing but good since the trial in our favor, and even before. Most of you have done good by us, and what wrongs have been dealt with and excused. Ugbor just presents a wild card as it is, as far as I'm concerned, and I was really hoping to just dismiss it. I understand that our beliefs conflict in a lot of ways, but I am trying to bridge the gap.
Bridge the gap.
Ugbor, if you think about it, like she had no malicious intent in doing anything to Vorik. It was just like her, like she drew the short straw and she had to do it.
Nah, man. You know that's not it.
Nah, I don't know about that.
I mean, if there's something I
How would you
can do,
interpret it then?
if there's something I can do to remedy this anymore, explain our ways or something, I would. I am trying to allow you to get your pound of flesh in if that's what it requires, and move on. If it would help. I believe it's an Orcish saying, I will let you come at me, bro.
I'll get my pound of flesh, all right. Just not from you, and not right now. We got bigger fish to fry.
Ooh, a pound of shrimp. That's the flesh I pick.
If it helps your query, my priestesses have actually already been researching the event since the moment it happened. If they were to find anything in their prayers or studies, I assure you I will tell you immediately, or have them tell you. Whatever is quickest.
You know he turned into an elephant?
I had no idea. Is
Yeah,
this the current affliction?
I guess. The other night we were sleeping and the moon turned red and he turned into a fucking elephant.
I mean, I can do that too, but is this a new occurrence for him?
No, I mean, you can do it because you like.
What?
Or
Wait, you can
What?
turn into an elephant?
What?
Lisseri takes a step back
And you
and
haven't yet?
draws in to herself a little bit with her power, and then her body erupts into a giant gray elephant that stands in front of you.
that's like a full elephant, right?
Yeah, like a full freaking elephant.
Oh God.
Not the Luxodon.
Not a
No.
Loxodon, an elephant.
Okay, Flint is jumping up and down, clapping.
Her
He's so
form,
excited.
then quickly reverts back to her original form.
That was amazing!
Yeah, guys, she's like a druid.
It was a joke, dears. It's something we call wild shape.
Yeah. But no, he was like a human elephant.
What else can you be?
He was like as tall as I am.
I can be any beast, really, but let's uh, if your friend Vorik is doing that without intent, that's a whole different matter.
He's a druid rogue. Nice. I like it.
I mean, that would be the safest explanation, but it
Yeah,
also
but this
sounds like Millar's handiwork as well. Has he been
Yeah, he
bitten?
also only changed during a certain, like I think the full moon. Was that what it was?
Oh,
The
yes,
moon was,
that's
like red too.
yes, that's the Millar moon. That's obvious enough. Has he been bitten recently, or come into contact with anything?
Well, the
Has he
thing,
eaten any bad ham?
He got
only
bit
thing
by
he's
a
bitten
really
him
big
was,
wolf.
was Torin. That's it. That's the only thing he's been bitten by recently.
Do you think that if Torin were to bite me, I could get bigger?
Buddy, if Torin were to bite you, that would be called his breakfast.
Maybe like a light snack.
How about a little nip? How about a little nip? Just like right on the arm. I mean,
Torin walks up to you and then cocks his head at you as he gets right up in your face.
frightened, but not going, but going, ready to stand by, ready to be the tallest gnome in his village. Flint raises his arm, closes his eyes, looks away, and just like raises it up. Like, okay, if this is gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Torin uncocks his head, leans forward slightly, and opens his jaws. His mouth is bigger than your head. He very slowly places his jaws around your arm, with just his front teeth, like able to close over your forearm, and just goes like he's biting the hairs off your arm.
Do I look taller yet, guys?
You're getting a bit hairier.
You look a little excited, actually.
Oh, that. Oh, goodness. Torin, no, that has nothing to do with you. Sorry. And Flint's gonna just cover himself.
Torin is what he is, and apparently feeling playful, but he is not contagious.
Of course, breakdancing over here.
Oh no, I didn't think contagious. I just thought maybe. I mean, if a great big bite on Vorik could turn him into an elephant, then maybe a tiny little bite could turn me into a gnome that was taller than my stupid brother.
I mean, that's entirely between you and Vorik, but if this is Millar's handiwork, and she looks over to Vorik, I wouldn't recommend it. Those claw marks, and she points to Vorik, noticing that there are 3 claw marks from his collarbone down his chest, where his clothes begin to close up. Those weren't inflicted by Torin, were they? That was part of the ritual. That would probably be the cause. Divinely struck, but physically manifest. Very interesting.
Yeah, I tried to get rid of it, and it was a no-go.
These things are very tricky. Well, with that long conversation out of the way, and she goes up and lays a hand on Ugbor's shoulder. What exactly are your next plans?
Flint, can I pull you away for a minute?
I'm 3 feet tall, so probably.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna walk over here and see if Flint follows.
while you're doing that, Lysaria is going to summon what little she knows of Orcish, very botched and broken, but tries her best to say in Orcish, "Are we good, Bursky?"
You're dead to me. You're dead to me, woman.
In the best Elvish I can muster. Hold on a minute.
Can you just speak Elvish?
Yeah, I can.
It's
Oh
perfect.
snap, we're getting real.
It's fluent.
Hello.
Yeah. I provide some sort of idiom. I don't know. It's a different language, different culture. I provide an idiom that I know in Elvish.
Okay.
Water falls over the bare spring.
Yeah. Something to do with nature and time moves forward. Yeah.
Can't catch a fish with a boner on a rainy Tuesday.
She looks confused by your diction, but appreciative of the notion.
I believe our plan right now is in the immediate future might revolve around returning to Rowanwood.
For what purpose?
Uh,
You're welcome. I'm just curious.
your
Out.
city is about to be sieged.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll be helping lead the battle preparations, and if you are willing, I would actually make a request of you in this, if you uh, don't have any other pressing issues.
I had a question.
When I'm done over here with Flint, I'll give you all the coordinates of what I found in a minute. I'm sorry.
Absolutely, yes.
When he's done here with me, I had a question too. So, sit tight.
Sure. Well, if you're able to, there are several things that need taken care of in quick succession. It's my understanding that you are on task for Gurki. I believe he told me that he wanted you to pilfer Durgma's den if you can find it for valuables, both for him and yourself. There might be something there to help us as well. Dragons are known to hoard various treasures in many forms, and maybe there's a weapon there or something that you could use to help us fight whatever horde comes south, whether you wield the item or us, or whatever seems appropriate, but who knows. Who knows what that old dragon has gathered in its long life. The only possible problem is that there are rumors that a new beast has filled the power vacuum left in the sands by Durgma. Sure, but this should be no issue for those that can dispatch necromancers and Hydra, though. Am I right? Could you do this? We
We
would.
also killed a phoenix too.
You did. We would do it ourselves, but we are needed closer to home, especially in this moment. We would like to entrust it to you if you could do this for us. And she pulls out a parchment out of her bag that she has on her side, and she pulls it out and unfolds it, and it's rather small. Like it's only about 12 inches long and 7 inches wide, but it's a map of the Rowanwood. If the attack has already begun, this way you'll know where to find us if need be. And you see that there are battle lines drawn on the map. This first line here will be led by my grandfather, Lord Bainbreeze, myself and Torin as seconds, and my uncle Tyrgan as his third. The second line you see down here is by my great uncle, my grandfather's brother and wife, and my grandmother. This line is just above the city of Craneroon. You'll see that marked here. The last line is being held by my mother, Kalissa, and that will be right in front of the border of Rowanwood itself. We will try to hold these lines in succession, but there are a lots of battle plans and pre-existing notions that are followed in our structure, backups upon backups, if you will. We will hold as long as we can on every line until we are forced to fall back if necessary, and this is our current plan. So you may have this, and she hands the map to Igbor. Or at least I'll present this to my grandfather as our plan anyway, and we will see what happens upon his approval. On another note, Vorik, I know you don't remember him, but we like to get your father to safety. He doesn't seem to be the adventuring type. I know your family is not from the Rowanwood, but you are elves, and it is a responsibility of mine that I do what I can to protect you, or at least him. I would offer him refuge in Rowanwood City, but with the coming conflict, I expect Von Gren would be likely a better option. He likely would be our better option to get our people out as well, should we have worse come to worse. I believe you mentioned to me that a former friend of some of you, Laszlo, I believe his name was sent to Steve earlier with E7. We're going to see if Bongren can do the same for you, and if possible, and not too presumptuous, we could see your father safely there, if you wish.
Yes. Bork says.
Very well. Flint, Mr. Manson, did you have anything to present? You mentioned
Yeah,
you were...
hold on.
Yeah, sure.
Flint. Here,
Yes.
I have another item for you that I found in the pocket of Foster. And I reach out, and it's in a different kind of cloth, and I hand it to you. And as you hold on to this item, you can feel the warmth coming from it, and you may open it if you want.
I will open it.
It's a second Phoenix core.
Son of a... There's 2 of these?
Well, I'm guessing this is the one Foster killed years ago, and the one we returned was the legendary one that we killed earlier. And I have not seen any ashes for the second one, so I figured that if any of us here, you should know what to do with it more than any of us. So I'm giving it to you.
Ooh.
Thank you.
And it's still active. There's still a soul in it. So whatever you want to do, figure out. I'm sure there's also some kind of great power if you attempt to maybe down the road, make it a item of interest to yourself, which could, potentially be a helping weapon in the upcoming war. So keep that in mind.
Much obliged, friend.
I will. This is what I've been trying to. I noticed this on our way up the mountain, but I didn't want to bleep it out, so I figured I'd wait until we had a moment. And this day never ends, so I'll just do it now.
This has been a day, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty beat. So, anyways, gift from me to you to the wars in which to come. Hopefully, we make the right decisions. I kind of nudge him on the shoulder a little bit, and then I kind of give it a small smirk as I walk away.
Oh, you're totally getting a friendship bracelet for this.
Yeah. So I go to her as he says that. I kind of smirk and walk. When I go to her, I show her I pull out a piece of paper and I kind of map out what I saw on the map and the spots where Foster has written as potential spots of Empire mercenaries, potential traders, where the line is, where it sounds like the war may start to come down towards Rowanwood and all that, and then just kind of give her the whole details and let's say a 10-minute spiel.
Okay. After you provide her with all the notes that you have and positions, she looks at you. This will work very well for us and the plans I have so far regarding the invasion. And the Empire agents, that is just useful. And she has a vicious smile again.
Do you by chance have the exact coordinates to Dergma?
I do not, unfortunately. That information is, not very public. Anyone that knew where Dergma was when he was alive.
I read a book where it gave a somewhat direction. I just didn't get a little better details on what the book offered.
Vonker might have it as head of the secret piece, but I'm not guaranteed on that. Gurki's also a great insight. If he's sending you on this mission, maybe he has information you could use. I'm not sure. If I find it, I'll ask around. If I find anything, I'll let you know.
Okay, well, we have approximately 20 days before the supposed Empire attack, so we have 20 days to get stuff done before we need to return and assist, so...
Not to add additional pressure or anything, but how many Fosters did we kill? Anybody remember?
Technically 2.
Indeed. And how many clone tubes did we find?
Too many. Didn't we find 2?
Indeed.
Yeah, I recall too.
But last I checked, I mean, I guess technically you could clone yourself more than once.
Especially, and you see what Sari thinks to herself, especially regarding dragons, Gurki seems to know much. You might want to ask him specifically about it. Maybe a direct approach might trigger something for him.
Do you know? Let's see. How old do we think Foster looked when we actually met him? Did he seem like an older gentleman, or?
He was a human, and for a human, he looked to be late middle age.
I thought he looked a lot like Johnny Depp, to be honest.
He did. He had
Yeah,
beautiful eyes.
late middle age.
So I'm just wondering, it seems like pretty good odds to me that there might be another Foster out there. And should there be another Foster out there, it took him exactly 1 spell to kill Alfred.
Yeah.
I think he should be priority 1.
We also haven't rested yet, so that doesn't help.
Well, Sari's eyes kind of go hard at you as you're talking about this gentleman. I'll personally be looking for Mr. Foster. Should you need help or have any input, let me know. But for now, his whereabouts are strictly unknown. So I don't think this to be the priority, especially with the invasion coming. He may be evil, but I'm not sure if he's connected.
Yeah, potentially there's one more out there somewhere.
Well, it would be a pretty terrible time to find out that he was on their side if we were in the middle of the Battle of Rowanwood and Foster shows up. Surprise! Kaboom!
You know, I think after our latest interaction with him, it's probably a definite sign that he's working with him.
There's also a good chance that because he knows once his house is burnt, he knows how to port into the underground if he's still alive. So we could technically surprise him if he decides to go back. If we wait a couple days and maybe just enter ourselves and see if we could maybe come in behind him if he chooses to come back.
Well, all we can do is prepare. We're already preparing for an army. 1 more man shouldn't be too big of a preparation, although it be Foster. We can do nothing at this time but try and prepare.
And then the herbs for Cliff Craig. Do we have those, or is there somewhere we had to get them? I don't remember.
I think Flint grabbed some.
Yeah, Flint
Did you grab
and
it? But
Lightbore?
did you guys grab enough to supply them, or would we need to grab more?
Oh, if you have something for Cliffcrag, I can transit it. We're already headed there with Enderman, if that would be the case.
Do you remember the sickness that the miners were coming down with?
They're down with the sickness?
Yeah.
Yes. They wake up and just they're all phlegmy, they're all like
That's true. You know,
That
if we
sounds
wait till-
terrible.
If we wait till morning, I mean, how long would it take you to get to Cliff Craig, do you think?
About half a day, if that, especially with Torn.
Don't worry about my thing. Yeah, I would say give her the herbs and have her errand them to Cliff Craig to heal the miners and help their
before we do,
stability.
go on. I was going to say before we sent her off with them, could we just take a peek at that flora and fauna book really quick and see if there's a way to transplant them so that Cliff Craig is not limited to what we send them, but perhaps they could also grow their own?
Sure.
Yeah.
Would they
Using
have an herbalist there that could do it? Just curious.
Better tell them where to get it from, and they could just send people out to get some.
Hey, we're out of this. Why don't you run back to that phoenix roost?
It's worth it. It might take a really long time for it to grow.
Somebody here has read that book already, right? Flint distributed books, and people have studied at least a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
looked in.
I haven't touched mine yet, but that's
Okay.
been kind of busy.
I haven't either.
Who had the flora and fauna book?
I did.
You did.
Yes.
And I can't remember your role on how well you understood common.
Oh,
I don't remember it being good.
yeah, it was not. It was not.
Okay, so yeah, you
I
you
am
don't know.
proficient in speaking it.
Okay, but no, you don't know anything right now.
Wah, wah.
Do you mind if I take a look?
Go for it, buddy.
Sure. For research, I'll have you make a. Trying to do this research quickly as well. We'll say do a straight intelligence check.
Not nature.
Not nature. Nope. This is reading a book, not studying nature. It's hard to
Well, that
find.
sucks.
You're sure you can find it. It's in here. It has to be in here, but you're having a hard time finding it quickly.
Would you like me to look? I'm sure I could read probably the fastest in the group.
Sure.
Okay.
Alright, let me look at this bad boy.
Go for it.
Start looking and flipping through pages and just kind of do a quick skim. What do you want from me? If anything?
Just straight intelligence check. Just for
First
speed.
roll today is an 18 plus 5, 23.
23. Looking through the index, you find the letters, find the item you're looking for, and do some quick research on the topic and what is known. And this plant is something between a flower and a fungus. As far as it is studied, it does reproduce through spores, though, but it has to be. It only eats the radiation coming off of this certain seam of ore. So if provided that it had access to this ore, and you had some of the plant to give spores off of, you could spore some very light topsoil onto these stones or any mined ore, and it should grow pretty quickly.
Okay, I give that details to the group just so I don't have to repeat.
Oh, it sounds like if you have some, it should be able to reproduce on its own, given the access.
Yes, it seems like there isn't any shortage of this material.
No, just maybe hard to get to, but I'm sure they can figure it out. Would you be so kind? And she extends her hand.
I hand them off.
All right. She pockets them in her own bag, and I will take Mr. Thennerin to Cliff Craig with these and have this taken care of immediately.
Before you do,
Yes.
And then Flint holds out a just ridiculously long list, written in very small script. He rolls it up and hands it to her and says, "If you're able, could you track these people down and perhaps get them out of harm's way as well?" It's quite a list.
I would be honored. Absolutely. It's out of my way at the moment, but would you trust me to send some of my own trusted contingent to retrieve them if possible? Who are they?
My wife and children.
Yes, of course we could do this. I cannot speak on behalf of Mr. Vongren as to where they will be going, what is the safest and what's available, but I will certainly retrieve them from wherever they are and bring them to safety. Are they somewhere dangerous or somewhere that you don't trust?
I think most of Falonkort has fallen into that category at this point. However, I feel that I feel that you and yours, and especially the damn it, I can't remember their names. You know, the people who Those people from Cliff Craig.
Oh, the secret piece?
Those ones. I trust I trust them better than I trust Fiola's meager defenses.
Yeah, determined. They will be safe, one way or another. I will send my personal guard to bring them to Cliff Craig. Can you contact them at all to let them know to expect my guard once they come in to sneak them out in the night or whatever the case may be?
I will send them a message by one way or another to let them know to expect someone and that they will be friendly.
Okay. Oh, thank you. You can trust me with this. They'll be protected.
I appreciate it. And then finally, that spooky lady seemed really interested in you.
Spooky lady. Oh, from the mirror. The
Yeah.
Fae?
She was terrible.
Most Fae are interested in ambitious things, not all beneficial to mortals.
She made me think I loved her.
Most Fae have that effect, yes. There's many
Very,
instances...
Flint, how dare you?
I
Many
know.
instances of mortals succumbing to Fae charm.
You traitor.
How? Yeah, I know, and I have to explain this to my wife too.
Oh, secrets can be secrets.
But- Not in a healthy marriage.
I've never been married. Don't know what the purpose of that is. Okay.
We'll be watchful, though, so thank you for your warning. Before we go...
I just...
Good.
I wonder, like, what is it? Do you know why she would have taken such an interest in you?
Not the
And-
slightest, actually.
And as a follow-up question, do you think that she might have, I don't know, decided to curtail her holiday in the spirit of intervening with puny mortals?
She looks at her runes and looks back to you. These have made people much more interested in us, sometimes for good, sometimes for not. And Fae being Fae, they could be purely interested in power or our specific origins. It's hard to tell. Well, before we go, and she kind of claps her hands together, what are your plans immediately then? I just want to be clear so we are all on the same page. I am taking these Enthenerin to Cliff Craig. I will send Bastion to fetch Mr. Flint's family, have them taken care of. Then I must prepare battlements on Rowanwood's part. What are you doing?
I plan on talking to Gurki real quick, and afterwards plan on getting a nice long rest. And then after the rest has been conquered, with a safe rest, of course, hopefully our group can get together and we can go look for the long, lovely Durgan Dragon cave. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's what I hope to achieve as well.
Well,
I read your mind.
Let's go raid a tomb. I like it.
well, if you need any help, please message us if you're able, Munson.
I'm limited my range. I think Vorik would have to connect you, but you're within certain range. I have a stone I can talk back and forth to Gurki. Do you have any kind of messaging stones?
Oh yes, Gurki and I are well connected. If you have a message of dire need, you can certainly go through Gurki to transmit it.
Okay, then I will go that route.
I have Sid.
Yeah.
I
Do
can
you have
just spin.
do you have any more stones of scrying or anything to get against people viewing us? Some of us are lacking such items at this moment.
I think Fort gave out some to everybody.
I never received one.
Yes. You might have been gone. Fort gives you one. Here you go.
Gotcha. Is it just the stone of scrying or something?
Yeah, it's like a stone of anti-scrying.
Oh, anti-scrying. Okay.
Yes, you must attune to it. I have several spares as well in my bastion if you need them.
I just needed one because every time I looked up, there's always a ball above us. So.
Yeah. Can I get one of those stone no
That'd be
look
enticing.
thingies? Yeah.
Yeah, I needed one for a while. I just was too mad recently.
Lysaria takes one out of her pouch and hands it to Ugbor.
The thing.
Puts the other one back in his
Does
pocket.
it require attunement or no?
Yes, you must attune to it.
I saw attune to it today.
A vision flashes in all of your minds, slightly feral in nature, which is becoming more familiar now as Torin gets more comfortable messaging your group in his own way. You notice that one of his runes is glowing as this happens. What you see in your mind is the face of Jeremiel as you first saw him, standing next to Thynerin. A message, nonverbal, is communicated in the way that Torin is prone to do. Simply messaging that packs are stronger in large numbers. This one ferried weaker one through the woods would be useful.
Yeah, so how do you guys feel about that?
About what?
About that other guy out there?
What other guy?
That red-headed guy that was spying on us earlier?
Oh,
Jeremiel.
I didn't really pay attention. I don't know. He's a spirit walker kind of guy, right? Like,
Yeah, he seems to be pretty capable too. He was able to successfully scry our location at one point,
well,
or so he
to be-
claims.
To be fair, I didn't have a scrying stone, so it's really easy to scry on me. Just saying.
Well, I can't
But
do any
yeah,
scrying.
I mean, I don't know. He's new. Um, it's kind of weird they can talk to souls, but you know, everyone has their own little kinks, I guess.
Kind of weird. He's talking about wanting to examine Boric.
Yes,
Yeah,
that really unsettled me.
I think he's just curious on how someone died, came back, and came back someone different. Especially because this guy seems like he can talk to the dead, I guess, the solar life of others. So
I think it's also important to remember that although when someone can speak common, it doesn't always mean they're fluent in it.
it's true. I'm fluent in asshole, so that's pretty good.
Wow.
What's that word mean? Fluent.
It
You are
means
very
you,
good at it.
it means you can speak it very well. It is the opposite of how I am able to speak Orcish.
It's like how you can speak Elvish so good.
I don't think that was very good.
I can speak it very well too.
Is it-
I can also speak this, and I started talking to Flint in Gnomish.
Oh snap!
What'd you say about my mother?
I said exactly what I said.
No one respects my mother to my face.
Too late.
My mom.
She was more than just a yard ornament.
But
How dare you?
You took your mother out on a lovely dinner date and never called her again.
Nope.
She raised a fine,
I-
respectable
I
woman.
forgot the number. And I don't forget anything.
Dorothy Wartooth is a saint!
Well, I think it's best if we gather Thynerin and you say any goodbyes you need, Mr. Vorik, and we'll be on our way.
I
And
plan on
Lysaria.
resting in this cave. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's a bit warm.
I know, it feels kind of nice. But there's only one entrance, and I can block the entrance with some kind of trap. So if something comes in that's hostile, my creature could warn us.
So your plan is to spend the night in the cave that is the nest of the phoenix we just hatched.
It was the X Phoenix, the new phoenix just disappeared with the egg out of the hole, so I don't know if they're gonna be coming back here or not.
You know what? I'll risk it.
Because we could always just sleep, back here behind the rock. So
Wait,
if
did
it
the
does
little
come back-
phoenix? Did the little phoenix take the egg?
It did.
Yeah, grabbed
Yeah.
the egg and flew out the hole up top.
Okay,
with
good.
The egg.
Because I don't want to be responsible for one more young life. Oh my God!
You hear
8 kids.
you hear a as the egg splats on the ground.
No!
Hey, it's sunny side up.
It's good eating.
Well, I will get with Vork later on the dispatching of his father before he leaves. And for now, it is late evening, and you are in the Phoenix Cave.
No, please don't dispatch his father too.
His father comes in and he casts death. Finger of death. I would like to start studying the Proper's Book of Travel, or whatever the hell that book was.
Spatial travel.
Spatial travel.
Spatial travel book. So now that I actually have time tonight, I will read upon the book and see what I learned through the night.
Sure.
Before I go to bed. I think I have a slot left. Hold on.
Ugbor, what are you doing with your evening as you post up in this cave?
Ugbor is deep in thought and spends some time attuning to his scrying stone and thinking about the argument he had with Laseri.
Okay. Flint?
Flint is going to spend a little time just investigating and trying to go through his books and Foster's notes and just whatever else he can to try and understand, to try and glean more about this this Phoenix Core
Okay.
until he falls asleep on top of his stack of books.
Palinel, what are you doing?
He would probably wait till a little bit later, till like it gets like actually dark out. Then he would probably either go over to this spot right over here, or if you don't see the moon, he'd just go out to the front and just be like, "I'm going to the front of the cave real quick."
Okay. Your token didn't move, but I assume you mean the skylight.
Yeah, that one right back there. Sure. But he'll do that, and he'll take that little book that Flint gave me about like physiology of Sylvan things.
Mhm.
He'll just look at that.
As you guys are off,
I'm gonna turn into the stone as well while I'm
Sure.
multitasking.
not a problem. Is anybody doing watches this evening? Or are you just going to relax in the cave and assume safety?
My familiar doesn't have to sleep, so I can
Oh.
plant him right there.
Yes,
And
that
he
is
could-
correct.
He could yell at me if something comes, but if not, we can always do watches too. So either out works.
As you guys
Eh,
are...
I've trusted stranger things than an imaginary dog.
As you guys are posting up, Jeremiel eventually wanders over to your group inside the cave and just kind of waves awkwardly as he rounds the corner and sees you guys. I'm going to just be over here, out of the way, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
It's been a long
That's okay.
Papa squat.
I'm
I'm already asleep, so I didn't say that.
And Jeremiel will just post up over here, trying to be out of the way, not assuming anything.
Oh, we're assuming everything. Did I find anything else on this table here besides the 2 notes? Just the notes, right?
Yeah, it's just the notes, some drawings of the drawings of the phoenix, and some small scribbles about their transient dates and stuff like that. Him trying to Foster trying to pin down when they're going to be here in this cave, and just brief scribblings. Most of it was in the notebook that Flint found.
Alright, yeah, I'll probably end up sleeping in front of it right here.
Okay.
So was
And-
that sort of the main focus of his study was the phoenixes?
Foster was studying many things. He studied mainly the regenerative properties of many creatures. He's tried studying quicklings, a very fast type fairy creature, based on their fast life cycle and organ operation. There's notes on different fairy creatures and their long-lived lives. His studies just focused on prolonged life, immortality, healing, regeneration, until his studies eventually, fell and currently focused on phoenixes. And from the notes that you're studying, you gather that his intent was to harvest whatever powers he could from the phoenixes in an attempt to extend his own longevity and power. And this was his main and just at least current focus. As you all eventually drift off to sleep, the area is peaceful, and not much happens. Nothing disturbs your sleep. You study your individual artifacts and study on Laseri's conversation with you, and attune to your items before you eventually all nod off eventually. All of you earning a long rest. And Pelino, as you reach your rest and fall asleep deeply, you've earned it. You don't know when the last time you've used this much of your goddess's magic in one day has been. Just before your body believes you should have rose, as you have had time to recoup, the comforting dark of your consciousness is moved. The darkness remains, but you feel that you are, at least mentally, on some kind of ground. You see nothing. The moon fades into view, and a figure descends gently, gliding out of the sky, touching down about 10 feet before you. Your goddess, or at least an avatar of her. Her silver hair floats in the air like she's walking in water, her whole essence glowing a dull white as her moon. Hello, Pelino. Resting well?
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's been a long day.
Our chosen gifted invoked my name today. I felt it appropriate to second her thoughts and give you some insight as to what has happened to your friend. You have done well. You have been a faithful servant. I know I have asked much of you, and I will ask even more soon. You know this. When you attempted to raise Vorhek Hexania, his soul was in contest. Millar saw a free prize, and I, in my pettiness, did not want him to be so easily fed. And at this time she begins to walk around you in your dream state. I decided, despite my earlier reservations on Vorik, to lay stake on this one as well. During this tug of war, which you saw manifest on the material plane, you decided to assist on my side of the rope, so to speak, and were able to pull him, at least most of him, from Millar's claws. This resulted in what you see now. I chose to cut off the most corroded parts to save the better. Unfortunately, this had Millar leave his mark and retrieve some of Mr. Hexania's mind, which may or may not be recovered. remains to be seen. What you did was no small task, and does not go unnoticed. You have done well, and you will grow stronger in me. His loss of memory and unsavory traits was my doing, not your failing. While Vork Reborn lives, I see potential. I could help him contain and manage the perverted gift bestowed him, but he must seek me. I do not grovel. If you can convince him to seek me for guidance, not even so thoroughly as you have, I may be convinced to provide help. And she waits.
I don't know. Vork's always been. I've not really known him that long, but it seems like he does grasp for power and stuff at times. He might think that whatever Malar gave him was some kind of blessing.
I can understand that, given his history. But this is entirely up to him. I saw that in him as well when he first came to me. The lack of conviction, the desperation. He is a very hurt and troubled soul, but not one beyond saving. But it is not the God's decision to save every little ant that comes to us. It is them that must come to us because they are willing. We cannot force anyone.
I guess that's the weird thing about free choice.
Indeed.
I apologize for thinking that I failed you or anything.
It is entirely understandable.
And maybe not even want to try to get Alfred back. I didn't want the same thing to happen to him.
That also was not an unwise decision. Life and resurrection is a fickle thing. When resurrections are done on repetition, the souls can be mangled. You see, whether not in small part, whether we want to admit it or not, we don't always want to cling to the material plane. At least some part of us wishes to move on, and that division does not bode well for the integrity of a soul. Many things could be lost in transit. Sometimes we do regret free will. Maybe it was a mistake. But it does prove for the most ambitious of intents of mortals. No unwilling servant, at least as far as I can tell, gives themselves fully into the cause, can provide such a potent connection or such a grand display of our deitic will as someone who comes to us out of their own nature. Our gifted, for example, are a very good example of this. But that is conversation for another time. The battle to come, Pelennor, is in the north. You must find strength in yourself and grow before facing it. The enemy is crowded and shielded from my view. I do not know what power you are facing, but I do know in your current state, you, especially in your few numbers, are not capable of seeing it through. Find power, help those that need it, guide those to me, who need me, and trust in your friends. And at this last bit, she puts her hand on your cheek, and as tall as you are, your god stands taller than you. At least this projection of her avatar. And she leans down slightly and kisses you on the forehead. And then the dreams disperse, leaving you awake behind your eyelids.
Get that Oliver's book. Oh.
And all of you, after a long night's rest, wake up in this cave undisturbed. There is no dew, as you are in a cave, except for the small circle where the skylight is, where dew has settled briefly but quickly dissipated once the heat of the cave gets to it, so it's almost momentary in its descent. But you wake, and it is daybreak in this cave. The light doesn't change much because the heat and light from the lava beneath still dimly lights the cave. What are you guys doing?
Do we see a phoenix on the nest over there as we wake?
No, nothing's there.
We scared it away. Alright, guys. Well,
Munson,
yes. Yes.
from what you read, do you know what all those spooky doors are about?
The ones in the hideout?
Those ones.
That'd be up to my fearless leader. If I would learn anything from the books which would guide me through anything of the spooky doors.
Sorry, hang on one second. I've got to get my notes up here.
We're gonna be walking, guys. What spells should I prepare today? On water.
You should load a greater restoration. Greatest spell ever created for any healer, priests,
I do have
nature
it.
type people.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I had to pull some things up there. What was your question, Vincent?
He wanted to know about the spooky doors in the dungeon of Foster. And I read the book last night. He wanted to know between reading the book and any kind of connection between the spooky doors and what I read last night.
Okay. What you read in the book of spatial travel details the basics of what is known of the planes within this existence, the different realms that overlap each other and exist in different areas within the conscious space of this universe. Very few are known, and very little is known about them. It details mainly the elemental planes, the knowledge of the outer planes, but nothing of what they are or what resides there. Mainly, it goes into the astral sea, the plane of fire, and the nine hells. It talks about their main residence and the dangers that lie within. What is briefly known about how to travel there, and this coincides with the what you witnessed from the doors inside the dungeon. And they seem to be a representation, or if not a portal, to what is called the astral sea. The astral sea being referred to as the space between planes, where you are when you are nowhere else.
So, with that information, yeah, I guess it would just be that I understand what they do and how they work, but I don't really have a use for it at this would I believe Foster could go through those and kind of hide in the astral plane? That'd be something I could potentially believe that would be a possibility.
Say again. I must not have understood.
So would in the astral plane, would I believe that'd be somewhere Foster could technically hide for a duration?
Oh yes, one of the entries in the book about the astral sea, it's noted that the astral sea is one of the most accessed planes actually, because the astral sea is the easiest plane to create a demiplane in. This is where most pocket dimensions come from when they're stolen away to create bags of holding and portable holes and things like that. So it's very easily possible for wizards and people like Jacob Foster to create demiplanes within them and use them for whatever purpose they might see fit.
Yeah, I'll just kind of explain to Flint that that it's an astral sea. That basically they're just pockets of dimensions for like the nine hells and all that. Ability to port in and out through each door, and on top of that note, Foster could potentially create a demi-plane or something small in one of those places to hide if need be, but I mean over time I could do the same thing. Quite a fascinating book, actually.
Do you think if we lock the door, that would be enough to keep him from being able to, I don't know,
No, because you have
catch
to
us
realize
with our
that
pants down?
I have the same ability to go up to a door and unlock it with magical means. So unless we have some kind of runic protection on it that could actually make it to where it's hard to open, I mean, he would still open, but it would be more of a trigger trap. But we would have to create it or buy some type of trap to put on every single door, some kind of runic trap.
Is there a way to deactivate a door once it's been created?
I don't believe so. I believe those are just of natural being.
Well, then it sounds like we haven't quite finished clearing out our dungeon.
Well, you really don't want to go into the nine hells, I'm just saying.
You now have to clear out all of the astral sea and the plane of fire.
Let's spend the next 3 years playing this game, turning one by one, never completing the actual mission we were told, and everyone dies except us in our little hole.
Time doesn't move at all while we're in there. It's kind of like at the end of Bill and Ted 2.
You go into nine hells, you come back the next day, it's been 100 years.
All right, Rowanwood, who's ready?
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that right now. I would say one of us should. You know what? Not one of us. I will send a message to Gurky, because if one of us says it, you'll probably just say hello or how are you, and then that's all you'll say. So.
Excuse you. Politeness matters.
You have a very minimal text to send Gurky before he sends back, so politeness is not necessarily needed in such quick conversation. It's more like
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
That's fine. You can more
Don't be
ask
polite to
a
Gurky.
question and hope to get an answer back, and then that's kind of the purpose of our thing. Or if we need emergency help. I will grab my stone for Gurky and be like, "Hello, Gurky. It's Munson. I would like to know if you know of any coordinates or the exact location or near location for the Durgma Den in the sands."
It takes not a moment for a reply. If you would be so kind, have Mr. Pelinel retrieve my rope from the bag. This requires a longer conversation.
Okay. Pelinel, are you awake?
Yeah.
The rope. Pull the rope. Pull Gurky through, please.
Alright, Flint, come over here.
Alright, let's do it. Reach in there, pull the rope.
As you reach into the bag and grab around, you eventually find a rope, and when you find it, you feel a tug, tug, tug from the other end, and then start to pull the rope from the bag. Eventually, after pulling about 25 feet of rope, you find a little goblin on the other side.
I think I see a head.
it's a boy.
It's breaching.
Uh, sort of. I'll say sort of unamused. Gurky pops through the bag. Wah, wah.
That's the spirit.
A beautiful baby boy.
We've had a long day. We need some humor sometimes.
So, and he plops down to the ground and claps and rubs his hands together. Things have changed. I have received information from Lacere just in the last hour via information she's retrieved from Vongren, who's so and so. You know how it goes. So and so from so and so. Bottom line is that the cog of Fiola has chosen to resign and take a holiday. Don't know why.
What?
He, yes, you wouldn't say so. He, without much provocation, just made a public announcement, announced that he was going on holiday, renounced his office, and then dropped off the face of Vikathis. He
And
has
Have they and has a successor been named?
no, he has no heir, and the council is scrambling to put together a vote, but it is low stakes madness right now in Fiola.
Fiola. I don't think I've been to Fiola.
It's
She-
lovely,
She
depending on who your parents are.
She wanted me to tell you, Flint, by the way, that you should not worry for your family. She's handling it personally. And this is one of her number one priorities at the moment, given this new information.
Thank you. Sincerely, thank you.
He nods. She seemed shocked about something, not even only this, but something else between her talk with Vongren, but she was not ready to discuss it yet, she said. So that'll be interesting tea time conversation for later. You mentioned you wanted to know where the entrance to Dogma's den is, yes?
Yes, the better the details, the easier it is to get to it. We have 19 days, well, technically 18 days to figure out everything we can as quick as we can before the Empire invasion.
Lovely. Well, part of your contract is that you retrieve the items on my task list, and you receive much of them yourself, and I receive in return for my help with you getting this task complete my small portion. Now,
Of course.
I happen to know much about dragons, and I have known personally where Dogma has denned. I'll keep this information for myself in hopes that I will have someone eventually go retrieve the items and not die in the process, because there's not only could there be something living in there trying to find its own home, like there's a ton of desert, there's little desert towns that used to worship the dragon, it's a whole thing. I've sent people, they've not come back. Fun times. Anyway,
Well, we keep killing really powerful things, so I'm gonna say your odds are better with us.
that is
I'm
my
honestly
hope.
quite surprised at how good we are at killing.
Never know until
and
you
getting
try.
ourselves killed.
But Dogma's Den, and he pulls out a copy of the map of Falonkort and lays it on the table over there in this area. Dogma's Den is precisely on the south. Let me get my pen out here. Where did it go? No, not that one. This one. It is precisely on the southwestern side of the mountain right here. About halfway up, you need to find a way up there. There's not really a footpath. It's, a flying path. Dogma has had wings. She was always a stingy old witch. It's very hard to get to, and I'm not sure how to get to it, honestly. If you have any magical means of flying or teleportation, you have to see it, of course, to get there if you're using that kind of magic. But
I could also use coordinates and get a somewhat guess. Not perfect, obviously.
I mean, using this reference here, it's hard to miss once you know where it is. It's right here between these two crags, and it's a dark spot that is overshadowed. If you compare this drawing, and he kind of draws the mountain, sketched it, and then drew some bylines to help you recognize the exact latitude of where the cave's at, and draws shaded areas. And as he does this, he does with kind of a like a clawed finger with the not chalk. Shoot, what am I thinking of? The black stuff, ash or the charcoal. And he's drawing this on the map with almost like a clawed finger, and he's drawing this out. If you compare this to the skyline, it's impossible to miss. Once you get in range, you should be able to see it and use whatever magics you have to pop up there.
Do you know of a town nearby it? Something that would be safer or easier to port to go there and then travel from?
Nothing friendly.
So more empire-y or just evil creatures in general?
You see, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the creatures of the.
We're gonna go with 0%.
Well,
I don't travel this way. I've never really left Sunder until recently, and every time I go somewhere, we seem to either be in trouble or we kill lots of things. So, I'm up for adventure.
Well, there are a number of beings who worshipped Dogma in various concepts around the sand plate, but if you run into one of their established organizations, it would be best to keep a low profile as you skirt around, if you know what I mean.
So I shouldn't chant Dogma will die. Probably a bad idea.
She didn't tend to have nice friends. Many of them benefited from her reign.
But
So
she
studying
likes
his-
people in skirts.
Studying his map and design, I mean, it's completely winging this shit, but it's the fastest way of travel besides looking like our distance looks like, what, maybe 5-day travel going through the mountains and around?
Something in that neighborhood, yeah, if you're efficient about it.
God, I'm good at this guessing game. What if? Okay, that's such a huge if. I don't know. What if I choose the bottom of the mountain sector? Take his drawing. I've seen pictures in a book that I read, not necessarily the whole, but I've seen the location and design and pictures of that area. Could I potentially land us somewhere near the bottom of those two crags? If I need to check on that. I'm not sure what you would think on that aspect.
As you are planning and discussing, Vorik comes up to Flint and kind of leans over. Should we bring up the fact that he's a dragon, or do you think better of it?
Well, I'm sure not going to say it.
All right. He just chills.
Gurky, by the way, just to be entirely above board, that Foster was a sick bastard.
Yes. Anything you found over there, keep for yourselves. I require no donations. Consider it a fulfillment of an undesignated task in your contract.
There's probably a third one, by the way.
Right, but here's the thing. You paid me back for the Phoenix Core, and in the end, I did wind up with a Phoenix Core. So
fancy that.
I don't want you to feel like I'm, ripping you off. So then
Yeah. Turns out when Foster died, before we threw him in the lava, I found an additional core on his body. So interesting how things happen when you have slippery fingers sometimes.
Well, keep the money. Consider us even. I do love a horde, but I don't need that much money in my current age.
Well, we also found some books, and I know you said that you were quite the collector. If any of them, I mean, I'd like to keep them with us for the time being, but if there's any you'd like to peruse.
No, I have a reading list that's very full. I appreciate the offer, though. I'll hit you up later if I find time.
Do you by chance have the ability to get us close without me taking the chance, Kirky?
Beg your pardon?
To get us close to the mountain? Is there any way you could port us? Any teleportation circles nearby? Anything like that? Without us having to... What's the word of war? Wing it, bro.
No, I don't. I don't possess such magics. Matter of fact, I gave you a book to help you in such regard, did I not?
Yes, that's what I'm going to be using in a minute. I just figured I'd ask before I went down the road.
No, I have no additional benefits, unfortunately.
Okay.
Short of growing some wings and flying you in.
Yeah, I'll look at the group. So, who's
Could you do that?
willing- Yeah.
Okay.
Who's willing to go for another teleportation experiment?
Just a moment.
Okay.
Gurky,
I start writing down the sigil on the
is,
ground.
is that something you can do?
What's that?
I'm going to be honest
And
with
he-
you.
he-
I
he-
just saw an elf girl turn into an elephant.
He packs up the map from the table and puts it in his little pouch on his side. No, I don't have the ability to transform as such as the Sere does. No,
He's not a druid.
negative.
Well, no, I didn't.
Fancy
I didn't
trick
think,
though.
I didn't assume he was druid, but I figured, as much as he's read, if there's a way to do it, you'd probably have figured it out by now. Yeah.
Hey guys, I figured out this one thing where I can see everything. You guys remember the star eyes I had down there?
Kirky's head whips around and looks at Pellinel. Do tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see everything. It gives me something called true sight.
Oh, I've heard that's nice stuff.
It's pretty cool. Star eyes. You want to see Gurky?
Sure, I would love to.
Alright, I cast true seeing on myself.
Okay. And you see in the place, in this place you're in, you're also able to see the ethereal plane, and you see a lot of just wafts of blue energy and etherealness taking place beyond your recognition or effect. And in the place where Gurky is, that you see him standing, you also see the image, like almost transposed on top of him, of a large-sized steel dragon just smiling at you.
I like to see where Gurky is, but I look up. Whoa!
See something interesting? But there's something on my shoulder, and he turns and looks around. The after image of the dragon turns around as well. He kind of dusts off his goblin shoulder.
Pell would like go over and just get stuff off of his shoulder. Yeah, you had some dust right there.
Well,
What color was he?
steel.
Steel. Okay.
Well, it seems that
Flint, in his incomplete understanding of how this works, is covering himself for dignity's sake.
Oh, I can see it all, Flint.
well,
Whip it out, baby. Just whip it out.
it seems that my secret is out. I know the Sere wouldn't have said anything, so who first guessed it?
It was actually, ironically, point over to Bort.
Wait, what?
I noticed when you were in your little shell, your resting place, as I casted my vision of seeing and viz, you did prompt a huge image of something else, but I didn't care to look further than that. But I did not know you were something else. Are you something else?
Yes, as your friend Pellinel has so quickly determined, and also apparently Vorik as well, I am indeed a steel dragon in all actuality. I assume you have questions?
No.
Can you fly us there?
I cannot. I am actually rather small, and I cannot ferry so many people, nor am I able to. I am polymorphed into this form permanently until this life cycle ends.
What is your duration left? Do you know? How much life you have left? Do you know?
This life, in this goblin form, is not much longer for the world. I had originally intended to end the cycle earlier, but Mr. Palinol had ended my self-inflicted infection in Sunder when we first met.
Back was hurting. I just thought there was something wrong with you because you were an old little goblin.
As such things do. Well, yes, I go from life to life, living out the life of different individuals, races and genders, occupations, these things matter little. My overall intent is to serve the great dragon Io and find meaning in these lives, where eventually I will present my findings to him and he will deem me worthy to assimilate into his consciousness in the great light. This life is Gurki, the goblin businessman.
Wait, you want to assimilate into his consciousness?
That, I believe, is the great intent, yes.
Thereby destroying your own consciousness?
It's
What kind
tricky.
of goal is that, man?
It's a greater
I
one.
mean-
Do we know anything about teal dragons, or has anyone read anything that we know of?
None of you would have read anything on Still Dragons specifically. If you wanted to try and run a history check, or maybe a nature check.
I would like to run one of them. You said which ones? Nature or
Nature
history?
or history.
Well, they're both 5, so it could go wrong. 16 plus 5. 21 for... Let's do nature. Fuck it.
Damn it.
Okay. So you said 25?
21 for nature.
21 nature, okay.
I wish I'd had 20. That would have been awesome. Would have been the moment to roll it.
Flint, you're not sure. Munson, you have heard something of still dragons. They are metallic dragons, to be sure, but they don't fit into the standard metallic dragon dogma. There is, they serve a different purpose than overall goodness. As a matter of fact, if anything, they're neutral. But not much is publicly known at all about them beyond that.
So basically, we're the same. Neutral creatures.
As he speaks, you notice that Gurki doesn't speak. His eyes look around, but Gurki's mouth does not move. You hear the voice, but it's sourceless. My dragon form name is Pardanovac, if it serves you, but I would ask that you speak to no one about this and only refer to the goblin Gurki when we converse, if it would be pleasing to you, as to not rouse unnecessary suspicion and ruin a good thing, if it is to be said.
Well, I'm written in contract with the Gurky, so I will keep it as said.
Hey, we're Gurk's jerks. I can't even remember your name. The other one.
We're the kooky cutters, bro.
We were Gurk's jerks at first.
Well,
So your name is fine and secreted to us. We have no reason to harm you. You've set up good deals. We're here to do quests and conquer a binding contract. So we're just glad we can meet the real you and not the gnomish version that's hiding that of a dragon. So
No, did you just what? The gnomish version?
Lysaria is the only one I believe, other than you, to know my true nature, but she thankfully has a modicum of tact and has a firm respect on our mutual boundaries and secrets. She too is polite and has never even asked Gurki about his true form, and directly never has said as much as that she knew, but I know that she knows, and she knows that I know that she knows, I believe.
Well,
Aw, so
the
it's one
only
of those kind of things. Will
only
they,
one-
won't they?
The one we really don't know about would be the gentleman 63 feet from me. But
He is still sound asleep.
okay. Or
Jeremy.
I, we'll figure his name out sooner or later when he gets here. Okay.
Big
well,
J man.
your secret is safe, at least with me. I don't know about the rest.
Well, thank you very much. Your contracts, I think, at this stage, matter little. And Gurki, the goblin, takes papers out of his breast pocket, unfolds them, and shreds them with his hands and lets them fall to the ground.
But wait, we're still friends, right?
Do we feel
Like-
unshackled?
Oh, absolutely. I assume that we can still work with each other if that is amicable.
We still have your talking stone back and forth, yes. We still have your bag to pull you through when we have questions. So yeah, I would say we were still on the ally side of each other.
Yes. With that said, I would like to expound on my true intents with my two remaining tasks. Of you helping Gurki before this goblin life ends, if you would be so kind. The reason I'm asking you to infiltrate Dergma's former abode is not only to retrieve any treasures for yourself, which proves a substantial payment in itself, but I am looking for a specific artifact for myself. It's an orb of sorts. It's known as an orb of dragon kind. I believe she is reserved one of a red nature. It is... Yes, the red orb is very powerful and something of a cursed object. I would recommend not looking at it for too long if you were to find it.
Sounds like my mother-in-law.
I wish to have this item to keep in my personal collection for safety of, by and large, the rest of existence. As for the tree of memories, I sometimes, in past lives, leave memories there to remind myself bits and pieces of the thoroughfare. Nothing to intent. I vault my lives intentionally, one life separate from the other. I do not remember my past lives beyond this one. It muddies the water, deludes the true intent of the mission. For all I know, I could have been relation to one of you. I could have been your great grandfather, and not even known
Dad?
it.
Do you know the name Phelan or what it means?
I do not, actually.
I dream about that.
Yes, I'm not familiar with that name. No, Gurki the Goblin actually transited here from a land farther south, and arrived here a couple of decades ago. I've not heard about that, at least in this life, and I would not remember it otherwise. My lives are saved for future viewing at the end of my my dragonic life. I only review them all in total at that time.
Turkey, this sounds more like a curse than anything, really. You're kind of doomed to be something different every life and not remember anything of it.
You may see it as a curse. I see it as a higher calling. We all have different intents, and this is the one I have chosen. So, I wish to get this item from Dergma's den, and I wish to retrieve something of my past life from the memory tree, and maybe leave something while I am there. Speaking of Phelan, you mentioned, I think I heard something about that from Vongren or the Saray one. I forget. It doesn't seem to strike me anything particular, but that notion seems... maybe that's what she was shocked about. She would like to tell us when she's had time to process. I'm not sure.
Wasn't there? Isn't that what the one big
Yeah,
creature was talking about?
she said it right before we. I
I
guess
wasn't
hung up.
there when you guys talked to something, but after talking to her about this creature and about Phelan, I had a dream about Phelan.
Did you know?
She,
Yeah.
Yeah, she was,
It was like a small glade. It, a woman was standing in front of me with a choker that she had clasped and held in front of me. In her voice, she said Phelan, and then I woke.
And where was this?
In a dream. I either have dreams or nightmares. I sometimes can't depict which is which.
Hmm.
It
Interesting.
was a small glade, a boulder. When I touched it and walked around it, and then removed my hand from the rock, all of a sudden I began to walk backwards, walking through a wall of ivy. Torn through the veil, a valley closed off, small garden, house with trees. Had a large, rich brown, large, unnatural design on it. It lacked leaves from the tree, unlike the rest of the place around me, but the tree also has been struck by a force, blackened in the middle. It had like trinkets, rings, different variety of weapons, like kid stuffies, all stuck into the bark. And then the lady came out. She unclasped a choker from the tree, held it in front of me, said Phelan in a very faint voice, and then I woke.
Oh, so you have seen the memory tree.
Oh, that's what that is. Yeah, I've had. That was about a week and a half back. That was my dream on this.
The gods in this realm are very fickle, funny things. They tend to think themselves ominous and prophetic with their delivery of messages, but dreams are their most common conduit. I'd be careful
Right.
not to forget what they tell you.
I have lots of. Well, the nightmare one are the ones I can never forget. And most of these, I still have great memory of each dream I've had in my life.
Yes, the tree is obvious in that vision, but the lady I could not speak to.
Mr.
Well,
Gerke,
yes.
do you know anything
Yes.
about a? Do you know anything about Celine?
Celine. No, I don't recognize the name. But is that a fruit?
Ha!
no,
I
it was-
wish.
It was the weird lady in the mirror that we talked to.
Lady in the mirror. You have mirrors and you see ladies?
Well, we did. We found some weird black candles down in Foster's basement,
Hmm.
and we lit them. And she came out and was like, "Hey, what's up?" But she was very creepy and definitely a bitch.
In retrospect, we recognize what a bad idea it was to light those candles.
Do you now?
Yes. Terrible idea.
Sounds
Well.
like they had some fun.
I
It is
see.
this thing called science that Flint talks about. You know, it was for science, and we learned.
We did learn.
I suppose it is
Pull,
important to experiment.
could you pull her out of the mirror? Was that a possibility?
I don't know. She was
That sounds like the worst idea we've heard all day.
she was very
Well,
daunty.
You did fall in love with her, so you know it couldn't be the worst possible thing.
Yeah, you should probably just keep Flint just super far away from it.
Yeah. I've
Flint's
already
next.
got a conversation I need to have now.
Well, I've said my piece. If you have need of me, any further directions, let me know. Until then, I'm going to go back to my hidey hole and try and stay safe.
Alright, so I will tamper with my book of awesomeness and see what happens.
And Gerke walks over to Pell and does the upwards grabby hands.
Get the bag. Come on. I'll just take the bag of holding and just put it over top of him.
Okay, this works, I suppose.
Hold on,
Um,
just.
And Gerke disappears into the bag as you flip it upright. feet, his leather shoes slip in, and he's no more to be seen.
That's funny.
So I know this might
God,
be
I love that guy.
it might be counterproductive, and it almost sounds like it wouldn't work, but the mayberry tree kind of pops out when you're not looking for it. So if we just like walked to Dergma's place, then it might just pop out somewhere.
Do you know how many days travel that may be? If we are accurate on our travel and not get interrupted by anything?
Hold on.
Because I can tell you a rough estimate if we are 100% accurate and we just stop for absolutely nothing and don't stop to talk to anybody.
We can walk 24 miles in a day.
You know what else might jump out at us unexpectedly?
Everything.
A foster clone. An owlbear. A really gross bug.
Wasn't the owlbear part of Jeremiah, the guy down there? Or was he? I don't know.
He's sleeping.
He is, man, he is a sleeper.
He is snoring very loudly.
It's a human thing, I think.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
Being human.
They don't seem to have quite the alertness, I don't think, as the rest of our races so far. So
We're all sitting around being racist against humans.
just a human. That's fine.
They fucking suck.
You realize none of us are humans but him. So it's just like, huh? Who would pick such a boring race?
I don't think you get to pick. I didn't.
I think the gods selected for you, right? Isn't that kind of what everyone thinks? I don't know. I just came out blue.
Speaking of which,
Dabba-dee-dabba-die.
is like, what's the deal with your goddess?
What do you mean?
Gurky seemed unimpressed with the deities of Falonkort, and I know very little. I'm starting to think that there is no Iron Maiden.
I think it's kind of just a dragon thing. Like, they're pretty strong themselves, so they...
Going back to racist.
The speciesist.
We're kind of the worst people, aren't we?
They're just real strong, and they're like, oh, we don't have to revere anybody except for the one that made us, because he's a dragon god, and dragons are cool and strong.
I mean, let's be real. Dragons are cool, and they are strong.
They're pretty neat.
But that said, I mean, what's Saloon's deal? Like, what's her?
Well,
What does she stand for? What do her followers believe? What?
Well, we're kind of just good little people. We watch, good little people.
Good little people, huh?
So, yeah, we worship the moon. Hold on. My pocket is loading.
I kind of poke big boy over here. I'm like, oh boy, it's if we can calculate perfectly. I know you're still thinking, but if you calculate perfectly to get there with no interruptions, and we can go through everything without falling through anything, it would take us 5 days potentially to get there at the best rate possible, which is a total of a 10-day round trip. If we want to come back for the potential war in 19 days.
But what if we walk there, but then just go back to Rowanwood? You kind of have like a lot more of an idea of where that place is, so we'd be able to get there a lot better.
True, but we also don't know anything about the sand and trying to walk through them. We're not sure what's out there creature-wise, or what's under the sand for that matters. But I guess if you cast True Sand, maybe you can see what's coming at us.
It
Only lasts an hour though.
Yeah, it does not last that long.
At this time, Pell, you hear a voice Vongren is messaging you. Helena, it's been a while since we've spoken. I'm wondering if Lysaria told you what we talked about. I know she mentioned um, being concerned about Fiola and situations there. Um, what have you heard?
I will tell him in 25 words that because we heard that Fiol's like cog just fucking left, right?
Yeah, left for holiday.
Fiola's cog left for permanent holiday.
Sounds like a goddamn politician to me.
I assume Lysaria has told you about the attack on Rowanwood. Stop. I'm pretty sure it's like 25 words.
That was you had like 7 left, but yeah, it's fine.
Oh. Hope you're doing good.
He sends you another message. Okay, yes, that he seems relieved as far as you can tell. Yes, that's the situation. We are helping resolve it as quickly as possible. Worried about the side effects of such a situation, but it's being handled.
I'll send him a message now and be like,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, Foster said someone was scrying on us. And they might have seen your place, the secret peace place. I have tokenized scrying though. So it
Okay.
wouldn't be.
So you cast message back to him. You didn't need to. You could have responded to his last message
shit,
to you,
well,
but
We'll
you
rectify that. Rectify that.
you cast that, and he's going to respond to your message actually, and say that that's very disconcerting. We will be trying to remedy that immediately. Tell Flint his family is en route now. Thenerin has already been relocated to Steve. We are assessing our resources.
Hey Flint, your family's going to Cliff Craig.
Wait, I thought they were going to Steve.
No, that was Vork's dad.
Ah,
I nudge the human on the ground with my foot. Does it work?
He stirs. Morning, morning, fellows.
Do
And
you
he-
by chance have the ability to cause us to fly or the ability to teleport from location to location?
Let me assess my personal situation here. And he stands up and kind of dresses himself off, meditates slightly. I do not think I possess this ability today.
Do you have a your what is your abilities? Like what besides talking to the souls of which are have ceased, what is your capability? Like I would be people around here would call me a wizard of sorts. What would you be?
I am a traveling soothsayer, as it were. I fortune tell. I look into people's own spiritualities and things. I help them see far and wide. Sometimes I perform different theatrical entertainments, such as acting, a little music, not uncommon. I do a great many things.
So okay. Well, we are planning on potentially a lone travel. If
Would you like me to
tag
join you
along.
and entertain you, as well as have you keep me company? If you would, it gets quite lonely.
Don't at
Whoa, now.
Oh, who's to say? Remains to be seen who is to develop feelings for whom.
I rest my case. But you are accepted to join us for now.
Okay, I changed my mind. I don't want it.
Excellent. I would love to join you. And he stands up and walks over almost stiff-legged Marsh. Yeah.
To be fair, a bard would like try to have sex with anybody if it wanted to.
Nice rock you got there.
Yeah, that's a nice boulder. I invited this human, I forgot his name already, to join us in travel.
I am Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Do you have an easier name?
Probably.
Do you have a span name or something?
I'm just gonna call you Jeremy. Is that okay?
What about Jerry?
Jerry? No, I don't like
J Money. J Money.
I like all of these.
All are.
I'll just.
All of these
Point out,
names.
I am extremely married.
Wait, isn't out of character? Isn't South Thunder doesn't have many humans, right? You know, that's more like the rare variety of creatures like Luxodons and so forth. Didn't really have a mass quantity of humans.
No, there's not a lot of humans over in this direction at all.
So to me, it's just really freaking weird to see one.
Now, you've seen a couple in Sunder, but again, even in Sunder, they're far between. You will notice that Jeremiah is actually pretty tall, and like he's the big and tall shop for humans.
How tall is he?
Let me see if his sheet actually says. It does not, at least not on this thing.
Okay.
Let me look it up.
I'm quite tall myself.
Same.
I'm not.
I'm not as tall as Ugbor or Pelino by any means, but I'm the third tallest, I believe.
I think Vork is like my shortest character ever.
I think Azrael's pretty short too, wasn't he?
Yeah, Azrael I think was like around 6 foot though, like close to it, 5'10" or something.
I'm 6'2".
Not even Torin could help me get taller.
So, just to clarify, did you ask in character or mention at all in character that, about him being human?
Yes.
Okay.
I've called him human more than once already.
Okay, I didn't know if it was out loud where he could hear
yeah,
it.
No, it was in game because like I don't see many of them, and his name I didn't ask yet. So yes, I've used him as the word human a couple
Okay.
times already.
Upon hearing that, he corrects you. I am actually not human. I would appear so, but by trait, I am by heritage Aasimar.
Can I history check an Aasimar?
Sure.
I'm not sure my character would ever met one.
An ass what?
An ass. That would be a solid
Dad
10.
Asimar.
Solid 10.
Solid 10. You have not seen a single Aasimar in your life or heard about anything about them.
So you're a upgraded human.
What about me? I roll. I've been around a long time.
Sure, you can roll if you want.
What is it? I wasn't paying attention.
We can say history.
Okay.
If it was religion, I would have done better, but I did history.
12.
12. You think you've heard of Aasimar, but you're not sure what they are, where they come from, and you don't know anything about them.
Ask some more.
I think it's Aasimar.
Ask more.
More of it.
Or ass.
Flint
Or-
is just really excited at
Your dad
the
went to
possibility that
Huh?
he'll one day see Jeremiah attempt a charisma check. So
that makes sense. So he wants Aasimar.
so I can say kiss my Aasimar.
Okay.
And then give him flash of genius.
Do you have the ability to fly, Aasimar?
My current state, I cannot. Occasionally I can, not very effectively for a long distance.
So here's my problem. I can get some of us up potentially to.
You can get some of us up?
But I don't have enough spell
God, is
slots.
this what he's gonna be like the whole time?
I really hope so.
Probably. I believe it.
I'm setting the precedent.
If you're a bard, you have to be that way. I'm sorry, but bards are just made to be just that most uncomfortable, weird feeling person that's in your group all the time.
No, I think he actually intends to play this pretty hard line and serious, but I'm having fun.
No, why not?
My bard sucked.
I mean, shit. I could get some up there, and then I'd have to rest to do it with the next half.
I mean, I can fly myself. It just has to be closer to night before I can do it.
Well, I
And
wouldn't want to go up there during the daytime. That sounds
yeah, and I can't really do it all that long. Like it mostly lasts for about a minute. But I can do it 4 times, so it's essentially 4 minutes.
Well, I mean, if we can get as close as we can to the entrance. Oh, by the way, red red-haired guy. We're gonna go to.
You're
a
intentionally
dragon's
not
den.
learning his name now.
No, I don't like his name. So I gotta figure a new one for him.
We just rename you.
Welcome to the party, Nick.
Yeah,
If you're gonna be in the cookie cutters, then you gotta have
right.
an easier name.
Yeah.
That's right. Our gang doesn't deal in these.
I mean, we got Easy Flint. We got Mort. I mean, Pelinel's the hardest one out of all of them.
Yeah, but that's Pell.
Yeah, you can just
Exactly,
short
that's
it.
I want so bad for there to be like a boy band of Rick, Nick, and Pell.
Yeah, right. We are
And
going
Flint
to
is absolutely going to be the bad boy of the group.
Potentially a abandoned dragon's den in the sands. To see if there might be something else living in there, but we're after certain items in there. Certain treasures. If you
I
care
see.
to join us.
Since you're the new guy, you get like a tenth of the earnings.
That's understandable. I would love to help.
Alright, let's put that in signing right now.
Sign a
Do,
contract.
do you have ink or should I use blood?
I have ink. I have magical ink. I'll write out
You're a pretty sick guy, aren't you, Jeremy?
Don't even have paper.
We'll put. I'll tattoo it onto Ugbor, and then he'll sign it on Ugbor.
There, it's right there.
Yeah,
Right
Just
in
don't
his.
make it. Just don't make him angry.
He gets too sweaty.
Then it comes off. All right. It sounds like they, we're kind of tits up on this. We want to travel or we want to try to teleport. What is the chances here? Ugbor says walk. Flint kind of said teleport. Pel, Vorik, you guys haven't really said much. New guy.
Is there
was
any way
telling
we
me
can
about
find
this.
out anything about teleportation circles that might be out that way?
I asked Gurky, he didn't really give us any information, and he said anything out there is technically would be against us, not for us. They're all more creatures that worship dragons.
And even then, like, I think he has to study the circle before we can just teleport to it.
Correct, that's why I have teleport to a random direction of a connection I may or may not have.
I
But
think
it could save us 5 days of travel.
we could, and this is another slight deviation, but we could go to like Cliff Craig, and I could buy us all horses, and then we could make it a little bit faster.
Oh my
mean-
god, if we buy mounts at this point in the oh my
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Flint, why did you think of this?
I will murder you.
Well, so Pellinel, I have something to tell you about that.
Okay.
So remember the Great Library in Cliff Craig?
Yeah.
I've studied in there long enough that I actually made a gateway for us to go there instantly anytime we want. So I could teleport us there right now, and it would take us like half a second,
Yeah, that cuts off like at least
half a day.
half a day of travel. we go to the desert, horses don't do good in deserts, do they?
You need a camel.
Do they have camels in Cliff Creek?
Then they probably have sheep or rams. But what if we get outside the sands, find a village or a town, go in there not looking for the dragon, and see if potentially they have a stable that has camels for sale?
I'm going to have.
Did you know that that a camel with one hump is called a dromedary?
Nope,
I think the entire species itself is called the dromedary.
I have no idea.
I'm going to have Vorik, just for the fun of it, since you haven't rolled yet. I'm going to have you roll a nature check for me.
Nature.
Nature.
I'm not good at that,
Nat
sir.
20, baby. Nat 20, baby. Come on. Oh, I called it!
Oh my gosh!
Alright, guys, I'm
Awesome.
ready for bed.
Stands.
Alright, going to bed. Going to bed. See y'all next
Stop.
week.
Fucking
End it
called
on
it
that.
again. That's the second time I've called you to roll 20 for it. Jesus.
It's amazing how the mind works. You have lost most of your memory on your personal past, but some things are inherent to some forms of existence and some just stick with you. And you are able, somewhere in your mind that there are animals for all different situations, and there are animals used to cross deserts. And of course, camels are the main thoroughfare, but there are actually horses made for deserts. And you can imagine that Cliff Creek being so close to the mountains and the sands themselves would probably have some horses made in that scenario.
Alright. I'm going to tell them that.
So you're telling me there's desert horses?
Definitely.
I believe it. Your
Ooh,
brain's barely there.
I wonder if they have like a miniature for Flint.
Pony? Little
I'm going to kill you.
Come on, you look great on a mini horse. Don't lie.
You can call it Little Sebastian.
Little bastard.
Oh, I love that idea so much.
Oh, all this tequila. It's wonderful. I poured a full glass of it today.
Just straight.
But yeah, I think if we at least travel there, we have more of a chance of running into the memory tree. And
So, you want me to teleport us to Cliff Craig, and then from there, we can buy horses and then travel by horse and cut down instead of a 4.5-day travel. Might only cut, 3-day travel maybe with on horseback.
Yeah.
We gotta buy feed and stuff, stuff to keep the creatures alive. We gotta place
So,
to store it all. I guess we can put satchels on the horses.
I can say I can create food and water.
Yeah, but we also, normally if you're gonna get a desert horse, you would buy satchels and stuff to keep stuff on, maybe feed or extra water pails.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Maybe at least something that can hold 30 gallons of water.
Yeah, of course. 30 gallons. Get a horse just with water. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So, are we all in agreement? We teleport to Cliff Craig, get horses, small one for Flint, and then we head out?
I think it sounds pretty good.
Yes.
Flint seems a little bit aggravated for some reason, but
I don't know. Pell?
I think it's a good idea.
New guy?
I am with the group.
This guy's simple. I think it says, if I recall the spell correctly, me and up to 5 willing creatures instantly port there, but I have to be able to roll high enough to cast it. I need a 16 intelligence check. And that is a 16 exactly. Another 11 plus 5. Wow. I will teleport us to the library in Cliff Craig. I'll post it for you. I believe it's that one. I put a sanctuary in the library. We talked about it last when we were there.
Okay, so
That was fine.
so you're going to word of recall into the Cliffcraig stacks.
Correct.
Okay. So you and up to 5 willing creatures teleport, and as you gather your friends around, and you designate all your friends with your mind and the magic. You cast the spell, and all of you lift from this existence, teleporting as you are at this point familiar with, and popping into existence in the Cliffcraig stacks.
Popping and locking into existence.
That's right. Where is the stacks?
I think I'm gonna switch to rum next.
I think you could, I think you should switch to slow down, buddy.
No. Lower back hurts. I need something to get rid of it.
That is not the way.
Oh yeah. It's been working for a while now.
Do what my ancestors did. Take OxyContin.
There you go. Let's go from that to that. All right. Oh Jesus Christ.
Where are you from?
So, as you guys pop into existence in the back of the Cliffcraig stacks, you are hit immediately with a shift in both atmosphere, like you were relatively warm in that cave, it's cold in the undergroundness of this area. You also feel in the air the dampness, and the sounds and light are vastly different than what you're used to currently. The light only so much for the daylight. The cave was relatively dark, as was the stacks, but there was a little bit more natural daylight coming through the cave at that time. Immediately, as soon as you land, Jeremiah begins puking on the floor.
Oh, first time, buddy.
Don't worry, I'll be fine in a minute.
You get
I hope we clean it up.
I'm sure they have people for that.
Did you hit any books?
No, just straight floor.
Oh, he's lucky. I tried.
Well, that's kind of presumptuous and dickish.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sure there's someone who will come along and clean up after me.
Right? Janitor! I need to clean my shit. Thank you.
Poor people! Where are you? Don't make me clap again.
The infected of Cliffcraig. Clean up my shit.
So, I'm going to call for a brief 5-minute break so we can go to the restroom, and then when we come back, I'm going to ask you what you guys are doing in Cliffcraig.
Okay, let me get a drink. I'll be back.
Okay, so what are you guys doing now that you're in the Cliffcraig stacks?
I'm making sure this dude doesn't die on us from throw up.
oh,
Does
man,
anybody know where the stable is by chance? Vork? I don't know.
I've been here a few times. Do I know where the stable is?
Have we ever been to an actual stable in this place yet?
You have not.
We should ask somebody where a stable is. Make this a lot easier.
Would I have seen one being here before?
Yeah, actually you would, pal. You've been to for the city a couple times before you met your current party. There is a stable on the outskirts of the green part of the city, outside the mountain.
Yeah, there's one outside, near the green parts, outside the city.
Beginning of day, still morning, just showed up. Yeah, we have plenty of time to go. I would say let's make haste though. We are running on quite a timer. We don't want to miss the invasion.
Flint makes a beeline into the stacks and looks for anything he thinks can help him utilize the Phoenix Core.
Oh, yes, and I don't have it readily available. Munson, if you'd be so kind as to message Flint the Phoenix Core stat block.
Well, of course.
While Flint is walking through the stacks to try and find some information, you walk through a couple aisles and you stop as you look down one aisle and see no one else but Vongren Wellstone flipping through a tome as he's in the middle of the aisle.
Hey, Von Grin.
Flint, hello. And he closes the book briskly and walks over to you. Is the rest of your... Yes, I see them. What are you doing here so quickly?
Research.
Were you looking for Lysari and Torin then? You just missed them. They stormed... they left an hour ago.
No, they're probably busy.
I always miss them.
He looks down the way. I'll have servants clean up the vomit. Thank you for that, new person who I do not recognize.
His name is New Guy, Asimar.
Asimor.
I'll have them come clean that when they come to scrub the scorch marks off of my office floor.
Hey, Munson.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you know that one wizard spell that like cleans up stuff?
Yeah. but I don't know.
Prestidigitation.
Yeah, I do, but I don't have that spell. That's for weak wizards.
I think
Or
they
just-
used to use it to clean up Ugbor.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I probably should get that spell.
so Squimbly is also back, by the way. So
Oh,
Squimbly!
yay!
Yay!
hello.
My God, man, you fought a Hydra.
I know,
You
right?
almost won.
About
I
had it.
did almost win.
If it makes you feel better, your father killed it.
He's not my father.
Yeah.
What did you tell them? Nothing. I would never presume to. You pompous bastard.
Your acquaintance, Flint, killed it.
Your bigger version of you killed it. His name is Flint.
Vongren looks around the group. He's not really concerned with Squimbly much at all. He seems preoccupied. But eventually he just speaks up. Mistakes were made. I withheld information, which she said you were also looking for, and she rightfully took great offense. Would you two like to learn the history of the Phelan family, then?
Wait, who hurt you?
Lysari.
Yeah, she tried to fight Ugbor earlier, but Ugbor chickened out.
Yeah, he wussed right out.
I know. I would have taken that chance, but that's just me.
It's almost like our whole party is now besmirched.
I know, right? So the Fae, you're holding information about Fae?
Phelan, the Phelan family.
Oh, okay. Oh, Phelan! Yeah, I had a dream about Phelan from the fuck's the name of that tree?
Memory tree.
Memory tree. I gotta go to my private
Ironically.
find
You had a dream about this family?
that. No, I had a dream of the memory tree in which, at the end of the memory tree, a lady came out in front of me, unclasped a choker of sorts, and as she held it in front of me, looked at me on my eyes and gently said Phelan, and then disappeared. And then I woke up.
Yes, Lysari was rightfully angry, and this was my doing. I should have been more forthcoming, but I was concerned about the implications.
Oh, well, you gotta learn to trust before you can spill the beans.
Yes, speaking of spilling the beans, are we just gonna say that I found the information I was looking for?
Yes, you found some information. You're looking information on how to utilize this item, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you both in studying the item before you went to sleep and having studied books on mechanisms briefly while this conversation is going on, you flip through and find a couple mechanisms that could suit your purpose, require a little more than a simple trigger, a canister type holder that would extend into a barrel. Several variations of these things, any of them which could be easily assembled from some parts you have and some that you could easily find.
Magnificent. Squimbly, with me, we're going to clean up after our friend. Yeah.
The Phelan family, and he at this time reaches down the on the floor where he was standing reading a book and pulls up a portrait that he has taken down from somewhere, and he carried it to the library with him. He he looks at it for a minute and then looks at the books. I think this is a better conversation for private. Would you mind following me to my office?
Yeah, we could do that. I don't know where Flint went, but yeah, let's do it.
I'm sorry. Are you preoccupied, or should we postpone in a moment?
I don't know what Flint's doing. I'm available.
Yeah, I got time, but we are on a time crunch. We got like.
Oh, we have 9 days. We'll be fine. 19 days.
Okay.
He looks. Vongren looks down the hall where he saw Flint last. Mr. Flint, should we wait on you?
Nope, just gonna clean this right up, and yeah, I'll be after you.
That's really not necessary.
Oh, he's just trying to. He's getting himself a good little boy badge.
Get himself a Boy Scout badge.
Out of character, I am trying to redeem myself for wrongs done in an entirely different game.
Flint's like, I feel compelled.
It's really not important. That can wait. I have people for that, and I would really like to get this message across.
Janitor.
Right then. Poor people, it's on you now.
Come up. You ring, my lord. What do you need? Gumball does that just fine, master.
Looks down. Goddamn vomit again.
What is it about stack number 43?
Yeah.
It will heretofore now be known as the party stack.
Well, I won't take much of your time, please. And he turns and goes to exit the stacks.
Nice. We follow. I think.
Fair enough.
Yep.
You follow Vongren back to his office, and as you're back in Vongren's office, you enter and you see it is a little bit of a mess. There are some scorch marks on the floor that weren't there previously. There's books scattered around on his desk. There is a number of things that seem to be very hastily researched. There's even some scratch marks on the floor.
Somebody got a little
It
violent.
was not.
Or somebody got a little randy.
Not less sorry.
Was not unwarranted, I suppose. I cannot find for the life of me Vongren's freaking office. There it is.
Oh yeah, a nice room.
And
With that damn flag in the background.
this, and he
That's the Disney Castle, isn't it?
No, that's the one that's in my dream.
he puts the portrait up against a wall, and I will send you the picture of that portrait in chat real quick. Right here. This is the portrait you see. And he begins. That is a representation of uh, a lady by the name of Neum. Neum is the one who founded the Secret Peace and the last living member that I know of the Phelan line. The Phelans, from what we know, where to begin? The Phelans used to be the ruling family of all elves, and this land used to be known as Falonkort, but language does what language does, and after the family faded from existence, the words got muddled. The land was ruled by ruling pairs, gifted by Sylvanas. Pairs that eventually came to be in the possession of bestowed runes in the same way that they were gifted their pairs. Always an elf and a beast of some sort that is ascended in some way, directly connected to Sylvanas. This one, Miss Neum, she founded the Secret Peace at the beginnings of the end of the Adocaster War. She ferried the elves south during the Adocaster War to safety in what is now Rowanwood. Dara, the fox, was her gifted. She has been said that she left something for her heir to discover, but we were not told what it was, only that the heir was supposed to learn of its existence from their birth, and nothing ever came of it. Her son was lost to time, not that, at least it's not tracked. Although something of Mr. Munson's dream sparks curiosity on that matter.
You know what else is quite interesting? That flag you have up there. It was also one of my dreams. Well,
Neum
I'm not sure.
Neum wove that flag herself, actually. Not that exact one. The exact copy is in my personal archive. That one is a representation made for my lobby, just in case. She said that when she left, if she was not back within a certain amount of time after allocating a dwarf with her secret, then to assume she is dead. She did not come back, and sometime later the war fizzled out. We've kept her secret ever since, for over 1,000 years. We've also kept the peace to ensure that something like the Adocaster War never happens again. Since then, the Secret Keepers have known of the existence of the Phelans and their brief history. We've also known that for some reason, mentioning their name to the elves or talking about their history seems to they seem to react adversely to the name or don't remember their past.
It's been a stupor.
Yes, it's I know of the affliction, but I'm not sure as to why this happens, and we have basically kept to not meddling in it too much without knowing more than we have. So this is the secret that the Secret Peace keeps as Secret Keepers. Normally, this conversation is reserved for those who ascend to the rank of Secret Keepers, but being that we are on the brink of another war, I feel it pertinent to get information out there and to stop any leaks that we can in the interest of saving lives and people.
So, it's possible that this son who was lost to time might still be out there?
Well, that's the thing. Lucere knows her father was an unassuming human, but not much was looked into until recently. I should have told her earlier, but again, I thought better, and my better was not to be. Um, I traced her father's line after she became gifted with Torin, and then briefly after the runes. Once the runes were bestowed, I knew I must look into it. And we knew the lineage of her mother, but her father was uncertain. I did digging, and I found line after line of dead ends and trails. Eventually, I found a solid lead in an old tomb somewhere in the town of Hopewell that spoke briefly of his line amongst others. It was just an old tome, unassuming for sale in their library. And as it turned out, their line led back, and he was a long lost descendant of the Phelan line, a many greats grandson of Niam herself, Niam and her human lover. Every once in a while, a child popped up that didn't seem to be completely human, occasionally, but no one knew why. The line ever only seemed to produce one child per generation, and it's very strange that the line even survived that way. Lots of early deaths, either with one of the Phelan blood or the spouse. This is what angered Lysere, what I should have told her sooner. Once I learned of this, I knew that if this trait were to continue, it seemed to be some sort of generational curse, and I thought by keeping it from her, it would prevent her from suffering more than she had to when eventually either her spouse, her child, something was to not be. And she saw things differently.
You mean like when her husband died?
Precisely. I knew that if the pattern was to follow, that one of them, either her or her spouse, was to die, as did her father.
Oh, I think we had a vision of that Nia. Because she's one of the ones that we seen, the female elf whose face is in shadow and a fox.
How many visions do you lot have?
A lot of them.
You would be amazed.
Yeah, we have a lot.
And I don't get any of them.
How do you sleep?
In horror most of the time.
Yeah. Sometimes
One leg out from under the blanket.
Could I, by
Always.
chance, so in my dream or my nightmare, whichever you prefer, is there any way I could draw potentially the girl and the male that had the symbols on their arms, like the runic symbols on their arms that were with the flag from the fox? Maybe he would recognize them.
Say again, I missed the first part of your question.
Is there any way I could draw the elven father and the daughter?
Nope. Can't do it.
The male is
Oh.
wearing a black glossy crown and so forth, and he has tattoo symbols on their arms and hands.
Okay, so you want to know if you can draw them to see if he recognizes them? Is that the
Correct.
intent?
Yeah.
Okay. You can certainly try. If you wanted to try to draw the figures from your vision, you can roll a performance check to see how well you can convey them on paper.
Hell yeah, I want to give it a try. Hey, what's that name? Pellinel.
Yeah.
You have that guidance thing, right? Before I do this drawing, I'd like to use that ability if you have it, right? You have that
I will
ability?
guide you. And while
You could use some help.
there we go, 3.
Which one do you say? Performance?
Performance.
Oh, it's terrible. Let's do it. Fuck it. It's the worst that can happen.
Natural 20.
Attitude ever.
Stick figures.
I was gonna say, like, if you roll really poorly, I want you to draw what you.
A 17 plus a 1 for 18 plus 3. 21.
21?
Yeah.
21?
So, you're
Uh,
going... Go ahead.
While Munson's drawing that, I'm gonna tell him all about the vision we had in the cave.
Who are we talking to?
Okay,
Walker,
Bungren.
Who that?
the cog leader of Craig.
No, okay.
So you're telling him about what now?
Like the whole big ass vision that we had.
Okay.
I think the real question is how many secrets could a secret keeper keep? If a secret keeper
Keep secrets.
kept their secrets.
A lot.
Who?
Two
I
can
feel
keep a
like we've
secret.
gotten a lot out of these guys.
Two can keep a secret if one of them is dead.
We are
Um,
investigator, Joe.
So you've had a lot of visions. Which one are you portraying to Vongren specifically?
The one where we saw like all the different kinds of elves and like it looks like they're going through like that ritual.
Oh, I got it. Hold on. Where's it at?
And Munson's over here drawing like a whole comic book of every vision he's had.
Uh,
I mean, I have that entire thing all
Here.
written out. I just didn't want to.
here you go.
Yeah. There.
Okay.
I
Wow.
briefly-
Didn't want to.
I
did
briefly
not
wrote-
want to say that.
I briefly typed exactly
Yeah.
kind of what he said. I tried to keep up.
Okay. So you show this this drawing that you've done pretty darn well. It's not lifelike, like it's not a photorealistic thing, but it's very descriptive, and you can tell exactly what you intended.
Yep, that's all that mattered.
You tell about the vision about the runes glowing around the elf and the wolf, and the visions you saw in the cave with the runes describing. He recognizes that these are all Phalans, obviously, but you don't. He doesn't have any recollection of the individuals. Like he has no picturesque history of every individual Phalan. This is very interesting. I'm not sure what purpose it serves, though.
Well, you are the secret place.
I am the secret
Alright.
place, yes.
Yes. What about my picture I drew you? Did you, anything ring a bell?
No,
I mean,
No,
you have the fox-style decorative banner literally right there, and you have a masterpiece somewhere hidden in a safe or in a hidden place.
yes, this is quite obviously Neum in her younger age, quilting the pattern. That's not too unobvious, but I don't know who the other figure is with her.
Well, supposedly it's her father.
That would make sense. I don't know who this person is, though. Beyond that, I'm guessing he was the king at the time, king at the time of the human invasion, and Neum was the heir to his throne who did not live to be crowned.
The problem is this dream I have, or this nightmare I have, is part of what's going to be coming in the next 19 days, I believe. The Great War.
Yes, that's
The
what I'm
war
afraid of.
The War of the Antler Man, and maybe this symbol is something that draws in battle and is designed to help us. I don't know.
Well, if this is
Figured maybe
indeed,
you would know.
no, if this is indeed Neum's father, then he's presumed to be dead at the end of the human invasion, and did not.
Was
He was believed to be long dead.
Is he a Fae?
He is as elf as another elf, and a Phalan to be sure, but Neum is also passed, as well as every other Phalan that we are aware of.
Is there any way to bring him back?
From that far back, I do not believe I know such magics. The limit
So
on
they may just appear on their own. Interesting. Okay.
I mean, the limit on the material planes magic that I've seen, at least attesting to my personal clerics and the ones from Rowanwood, is at most several centuries, but not quite a millennia.
He should
Hey,
have
J Money, you
himself.
think you could call up those ghosts?
Ooh, J Money could probably pull these people up.
I can meditate on this question, and I will let you know.
Fine. Well, we got names for you now, so you might be able to select a lot easier.
It depends greatly on many factors,
Like,
like luck mostly.
have much luck in our group.
No, I'm supposed to be lucky too.
You never know. Sometimes you reach out to the spirits and you get a busy signal.
Oh, well, that's our luck.
You number who this?
Ah, the
Who
old
dat?
ether-
Who
the
dare?
old ethereal sock on the door.
Wasn't it a pile of shit on fire on your doorstep?
That's my life right now, actually.
Right.
So yes,
We called the
Viola.
shit poop.
Viola is without a cog. We have an invasion happening. There is mysterious forces at work. There are Empire camps abounding in the succinct districts, and we are only aware of some of them, I'm guessing. There is a new threat in the sands, and I am not sure how to defend against all of these threats. But beg pardon? Oh, a,
Next.
we are unsure. There's tales of a beast, rumors, but nothing more.
Does it river in the sand?
It resides somewhere in the sand plate. I'm not sure what nature it is or anything about it, honestly.
Do you have anything any kind of heads up for the sands for us? We're about to.
Oh no, not a beast.
We're about to travel through there ourselves. Do you have any kind of tips or anything if we end up running into villagers, worshippers of Dirkmal?
I don't. No, I don't have any real tips necessarily. You want to bring plenty of water with you and try to keep your head low. Don't look at the sun.
Well, we have one person who can create water, so.
That's very useful.
As
Oh, so
long as he doesn't die.
I'm very sorry if I seem out of sorts. This has been a very stressful day, week.
No, you've been beaten down. You have lots of wars to fight, and we keep showing up randomly. So.
Yeah, it really seems like it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year.
It's been a bad year for all of us.
Don't worry, I'll be there for you.
You know, it's
I'll
not.
be there for you.
I love you.
You know, it's not every day I also mortally piss off a god-gifted powerhouse by admitting I could have prevented her spouse's death, but yeah, we all have our things, I suppose.
Why does she get the cool ruins? I want some of the cool ruins.
Well, when you become the chosen of a god, you, I sure can have some gifts of your own.
Well, I'd have to believe in one first.
Oh, cool.
You have
I
a
haven't found
lottery
one
to pick
believe
from.
in. I haven't one to believe in yet. Everyone I've seen have kind of all about themselves. Not really my thing. I mean, I'm all about myself, but not that.
The thing I've noticed with deities is it's a bit like a lottery. The bigger they are, the harder they are to win. The smaller they are, the less they give out.
That's the problem. I don't play the lottery. Damn. Okay. Ooh. Hey, Pelino. What about those magical tattoos you paid for your friends? Do any of them do anything useful?
Well, Vorix, he can go through walls.
Okay.
And Ugbors, he can hurt people really bad with it.
Did you get one?
Do we have that still? Can I get that again?
The what?
The what?
tattoo.
Oh, I know two people have it. I didn't know if Pell got it or not.
No, they didn't have any more.
No, I thought I
they
lost
were-
mine. They took mine away from me when I died, I thought.
They did. Everandel picked it up, and I don't recall anybody ever collecting it after that.
Wait, you can lose a magical tattoo?
Yeah,
Mhm.
they can come out.
Ah, I didn't know that. No, if I knew that, I probably would eject that shit, but I didn't
What?
realize it came out.
Would they have returned that with my property?
It's probable. I think that's one of those things that got lost in transit. But I'm sure if you wanted to go and ask for it, it wouldn't be too impossible for you to retrieve it.
We need to send word and get that shit back. Well, we could just teleport there. So.
So,
Yeah.
Pell, here's an interesting story for you. You know why I don't do gambling, especially with like God and stuff?
What's up?
My family was addicted to gambling. Lost everything.
Gambling is a terrible vice on the soul.
Oh, I know. I've spent 100 years paying for their damn debts, and what do? They go off and die. from an invasion.
That's like almost what happened before.
Okay, well, the
Yeah.
Dutch ones do sound exciting, but no. Okay, so
Yes, and they are all like, no, and people be like, no, don't pillage me, and I'm like, no, I am pillaging everyone, including you. Um, could I speak with him privately?
who, the guy in the office?
You want to speak
Yes.
to Vanguard privately?
Yes. Just a little sotto voce, as it were.
I mean,
Sure.
we can go up and get the horses and stuff when you can stay and talk with him, Flint.
I swear to God, if you get me like a joke horse,
Hell, we're getting him a pony.
I want the fattest ones.
you are going to find out how quickly I can figure out how to use that Phoenix core.
As we leave, I go to Pel's mind, getting him a fucking pony.
Little tiny Sebastian.
He bids you all farewell as you leave and safe travels, and he hopes you have better luck than him.
Oh, we're gonna have luck, alright.
Uh,
Do you have any contacts down south?
I have many contacts. Is there something you have need of?
Two things. Do you have any further information on what's going on in Fiola?
All I know is that the cog was partying as they do. Everyone in field, I'm sure you know. But after a particular event, he was not seen for a day or so. Then he came back, acting strangely, then resigned his office, and then fell off the face of the world. Since then, it has been a scramble for the council to get candidates together for an election, seeing as that he had no heir. They have found a couple. Nobody is super willing to take up office at this time, knowing that Sunder has fallen and other things. It's
Have
very
they said
difficult.
Sorry.
It's just very difficult to find somebody, and it's just been a scramble. I'm not sure what's going on. It sounds very fishy, but that's all I have right now. I don't know of any dangers that have surfaced right now, but it's in obviously a vulnerable place.
Did they describe, by any chance, you said he was acting strangely. Did they... I'm gonna kill you, Bell.
I like mine when it's funny.
Sorry. That was for the group chat, if that's still a thing.
Um,
You too, Munson.
so what was your question, Phil or Flint?
Did they describe how he was acting strangely, or
He seemed to avoid conversation, to avoid drink, and he seemed more with himself than usual. Like he was not as cheerful, more focused on what he was doing, and to the point about everything, not jovial as usual.
And then this is actually why I was. Damn it, Munson! I'm trying to. I'm minimizing Discord right now because I can't. One of ours, for his parents who were both down in Sunder during the attack, and it said that his mother was on one of the ships. And it was destroyed, and I was wondering if you knew of any survivors, perhaps in North Sunder or anywhere that might have
No.
survived the attack.
No, not that.
Specifically, the destruction of the ships.
No, not that I'm aware of. Almost everyone on ships were lost, except for the one boat that made it to Bayside. Actually, I think they only made it to Port Eli before they evacuated. It was not not a very escapable encounter. I think most of the city was lost. I don't know of any strays that washed up on North Center or anything of that nature. We're certainly keeping eyes out, but we have only so many.
Indeed.
He gets a little closer to you. Osiri made it very clear that for my failing to protect her family, I am not to fail yours. She told me that your family was safely collected and is in the early hours of this morning in her soldier's care, and they are en route here. I am going to provide them fresh supplies and send them to E7, Steve, by way of teleportation as soon as they arrive.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. But I believe you are familiar with Vorik, yes?
Yes, I am.
If any of your contacts down there were to find someone, a lady who might be his mother, just by some miraculous intervention, I don't know. It would mean a lot to. It would mean a lot to me if we could find her as well.
We'll be on
And
the
I think
lookout.
I think it would really help him.
Yes, we'll do what we can.
Thank you.
If you lot have need, feel free to reach out. We have our hands full. I don't have many other agents available to run about, but if there's an emergency or need, we'll see what we can do.
Yes, and to that point, is there anything that the Secret Keepers that we can perhaps do to help your cause while we're out tomb raiding?
I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know of anything, puns aside, I don't know of anything secret that, is not known about Dergma or his den. You could check the memory tree for any bits and pieces, but it's hard to say. I'm at a loss currently.
Understandably so. And I don't suppose you have any tips on finding this memory tree?
No, I've not been myself. It's a very sparsely discussed item and not as accessible as many others. Many elven cultures specifically hold it in high regard and do not discuss openly its whereabouts or secrets with much of anyone. But if Mr. Munson's vision is to be believed, then maybe Miss Neum left a message there.
Indeed. Thank you for your time, and I apologize for the mess we've left.
It's
And in the meantime, I need to go make sure that no prank purchases are being made
yes.
at the stables.
Best of luck to you. Nothing worse than the mess I have made today.
Well, if there's anything while we're up there that you can think of that we can do to help the cause,
He just nods.
thank you. And then I just haul ass to try to catch up to them before they make it to the stables.
Okay. What you don't see after you leave is Vongren walking over to his desk after the doors close and reach into a compartment and pull out a flask and take several dregs.
Great. Who made him an alcoholic?
He's a dwarf. He can take it.
Or it's a polyjuice potion, and that's Foster!
Dwarves are born alcoholics. So, Vorik
Y'all ain't giving up on this, are you?
Vorik, Pel, Ugbor, and Munson, you guys make it in that time to the outside of the Underkeep. If I can move my thing around here. Where is Cliff Craig? Let's try and find Cliff Craig in this mess of all my images. Make sure I don't drop you somewhere random. There we go. Boom. You find yourselves outside, seeing the light wash on the exterior of Cliff Craig. So what are you doing at this time?
We're looking for horses.
Yeah, I think the stable is this away.
Okay.
Okay, it takes
I
you...
use my keen gnomish nose and follow the scent of horse shit to try to beat them to it.
Okay.
Flint, what does your gnome nose smell?
Mini horse.
Not a ton. A smoker.
Wait, here you go. I found the best one.
God damn it. You know what? With that, Flint could probably...
You could put rockets on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Put rocket boots on the baby.
Flint is an artificer and a tinker. Man, I will be
He's a tinker man.
blowing past y'all.
Oh god.
That little pony's gonna learn to fly.
Dear God, we made him too strong.
Put the magical cannon on it.
Rocket launcher jump.
But yeah, the stable should be out this way. And I'll start leading towards it.
Okay. So, walking through the streets of Cliff Craig, you're not too unfamiliar. And you eventually find yourselves on the very outskirts of the city. You find a stall Pel that you have passed many times coming into the city, especially from the Whistling Plains. And the stall has a great area outside where they house many animals. It's not only a stable for horses, but a stable for many farm animals used in Cliff Craig for resources, including food. And they have a variety of creatures to choose from goats, sheep. There are camels, horses, chickens. There are some more exotic beasts, like they have a small portion of griffins that are corralled over in a certain area with a high arcing net over the enclosure.
That'd be pretty badass, to be honest.
There's some people walking outside, and as you guys approach, one of the dwarves who's outside sees you coming. Well there, what can I do for you today? You after an animal, maybe some eggs?
Sorry, I'm back.
We need some mounts.
Okay, of what nature?
Well,
Desert nature.
yeah, we're about to go through the desert.
Desert nature, okay. You looking for, what kind of money are you looking to spend? Let me ask you that.
We have
Well,
money.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want horses, we have horses bred for such a climate, and they're depends on how long you plan to stay out there, but the animals themselves are pretty sturdy, and they can get you very far. We're at about 200 gold each for them. Each day of rations for them we have on sale as well for about 10 gold each. They're expensive because they have to have such a sturdy diet for the climate. If you want to spend a little bit more, you can Get the camels that require not as much rations, but they can go for a much longer time without them. The camels run 250 each. If you were so inclined, we have I think maybe 2 griffins that are of age we can part with. Griffins you can fly and are very loyal animals, but they would run about 300 each.
So the griffins, how do they carry one person?
Yeah, that would be one beast each.
Could a gnome fit on it with someone else?
Maybe not the big one here. Maybe if he was to be paired with the elf, maybe.
Yeah. That could solve some flying issues. What would be the time to get from, let's say, the beginning of the desert to, let's say, the mountains in the center of the desert? If you took a flying mount versus a ground mount, what would be the difference?
Be about double speed, I believe. A little bit less, a little more.
And you said you only have 2 of those?
Yes, I've only got 2 of them.
I slapped 3 platinum down on the table, and I'm like, mine.
No, that's not enough money.
I thought it was 300.
It is.
1 platinum is 10 gold.
It's 10. It's a factor of 10, so that'd be 30 gold.
I slapped 30 platinum.
You're
30 platinum on
you're a
the
little short. Not like that.
I am done with this racist bullshit. I am in a town full of dwarves.
And you're shorter.
Cuddle.
Forgive me, my slip of the tongue. I assure you.
You're about as tall as their beard.
For you, 200 gold for the griffin.
Excellent. I give 200 gold worth of platinum.
Okay, so 20 platinum.
20.
Yep.
20
There we go.
But I wanted to give you the cool horse with the wheel.
Okay, and now if
I
you
think he full sprinted.
if you want to stick around, that price includes a little training on the animals and how to handle them and introductions and that sort of thing.
That would be
Like,
great.
Would you mean we can't just buy it and know exactly what we're doing? That's
You can I'd be
Yeah,
inclined to let you leave if you wanted to leave. Not a problem.
Do
The
you
animal
have
is
an
yours.
owner's- Do you have an owner's?
Munson, I suggest you do just that. Buy it,
Well-
hop on, and take off.
I'm sure I'll do fine. I can read pretty fast. I can figure shit out. Oh man. Okay, so you have a flying mount. There's one more left. Anyone else want the other flying mount?
I mean, it would be really cool.
What is it?
There's a second flying mount. Flint bought one of them.
What is it again, though? Like, what kind?
It's a griffin.
Griffin.
How much?
300, I think. 250,
It was 300 for the griffin. I gave my man here a discount for my my error.
300. Short note.
No hard feelings. On the outside.
So, but if 2 of us are flying, then somebody's going to get there before the others.
Or you can use the flying mounts to scout around us. I know, I saw that one too. I thought about posting it, but I was like, it didn't make sense. But now there's flying mounts. That's Flint training.
I can't effectively play this game and have the Discord open at the same time.
That's Flint's manual right there.
Oh, by the way, if I could just quickly remind you fellas,
Yes. Yes.
what's his name?
Falcor.
No. No, not
The
Falcor.
kid? The kid
Yeah.
or the
What's the kid's name?
Flint.
Flint?
Somebody here has seen Neverending Story.
Yeah,
Oh.
I've seen it long.
Oh,
Back
I
when
had,
I was like, back when I was like 12.
I had to mute.
Is it,
I
is
couldn't
it
handle
not?
it.
Is it not like?
It's
Hold on, what?
Sebastian,
Okay.
Bastion. It's Bastion.
Bastion.
short for Sebastian.
Bastion. Valve. Valve is
So-
a box.
You know what? My griffin is going to be. Ooh, I am torn between Freckles and Lil Sebastian.
I don't know. I got upside down weird horse things. It worked pretty well for me.
Well, is there anything else I can get for you guys? Just the one?
No, I think Vork wanted the other one. Was that right, Vork?
I was looking.
What a. No. We should put a caster on both of them, maybe. Well, you can throw psychic daggers, right? Well, that's still a
Yeah.
possibility.
It is.
So yeah, on the griffin, if we get attacked, you see it, you can throw it from that without having to actually be on the ground. So that'd be very tactical.
Go and hand me the 300 gold and be like, I would lock that Griffiths.
Absolutely, my friend.
So
But it might be a little big
that
for it. But I
Griffin's-
mean, if you get it used to you should be okay.
That griffin is looking at Pell like, oh shit,
Exactly. It's like I'm too fucking old for this. I'm retired.
man. My brother got the gnome.
And I got the blimp.
Right, I got it.
So how much
Also,
weight
like-
can a griffin hold?
I am looking stuff up.
It's me looking at the Griffin.
Okay. Let's do this.
Please, no, not you.
Well,
Out of all of us, Pell picks the fucking bird. That's hilarious. Here, Vork, you
fair-
want it? Too
in
bad
fair-
Pell bought it.
In fairness, if I can like infuse my my Phoenix cord to like
to the
my
Griffin.
arcane firearm, I am just gonna be. It's just horrible.
Yep.
I'm going to be a flying nightmare.
I cannot find anything immediately, so we're going to roll with this. Pell is on the heavier side of what it can handle. I'm going to have the Griffin. Well, first off, you guys are going to have to make a series of animal handling checks to see how well you bond with your animals as you get trained.
Vork's like, shit.
Then, after that, that determines the how much the Griffin will listen to you, and after that, it gets used to you over time based on those rolls. Pell's Griffin would be slower and have to take more breaks, but maybe strengthen over time.
Gotta make it stronger.
It's strong.
With my thick ass.
It's gonna work out. As I wear full plate and I'm fucking.
I appreciate your business there, two Griffins. Whenever it's convenient for you, no worries on my end, but whenever it's convenient for you, we can get you in here, we get the animals seated and trained, and well, we can teach you the basics on how to handle them and how to approach them. Yes, no worries there.
Yeah, flying carpet.
I do not. That's not an animal.
What? It could be.
Put it there.
Flying fur? I mean, come on. The horses. I would rather have a horse than a camel. Camel's a weird. Yeah, I'll buy a horse for the desert. I want one that can carry that has a satchel on it.
You see, there's a number of horses in the field where the station behind this this farm, basically. In the field, you spot a number of horses, all of them basically the same breed. and there's two of them that are brown. One of them that's brown with like a white mane. There's a dapple gray one, and one that's almost has almost a reddish tint to its hair, and one that's almost solid black.
So the black one is stallion.
The black one's actually a mare.
I'll take the gray because it's closest to my color.
Sure, not a problem. And there'll be 200 for that.
And I don't want to ride a girl horse.
And then its feed is 10.
10 gold per ration per day. You can buy as many or as little as you want. Horses can fend for themselves mostly.
10 days worth.
10 days worth, can do. The thing about that is, as he takes your money, the horses can tend to themselves while they're in grasslands, but if you're heading into the desert, they will need you to provide, and this is what that is for. So I'll see to that for you. Anybody else?
The satchels that'll fit all the food?
Yes. The satchels will come with that for the food.
200 for the horse, 100 for the thing?
Yep, and the horse comes fully equipped, all the options. That includes your saddle bags, blinders that you do not need to be equipped immediately, but they're provided if you so choose, and bit, bridle, all that stuff. Good to go.
Cruise control.
Anti-lock brakes.
A wench.
Suspension.
This baby, and he goes over to the fence and slaps the horse on the butt.
Smacks it. Yeah, exactly.
Can eat a total of 2 rations if you leave your bag unattended.
Fuck that shit. He'll die.
So, being that I'm just a little guy, would I be able to carry more on the on my griffin? Like, say, I carried some of the provisions.
Certainly.
So the other horses didn't have to.
Yep, absolutely.
I have a magical bag that you can just throw stuff in. You can carry like 500 pounds.
Okay, fine. I won't be helpful.
I figured you just throw Vorik on there with you.
All right, well, we got 2 griffins going. I got a horse. I'm looking at 2 of you that ain't got nothing. What do you need?
Well,
So
there's
wait,
3 of
so
us.
so Vorik and I could ride the griffin without problem.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ugbor
Then-
would have to get his own, and so would Human ask some more.
Okay, I will hold their decisions and we'll retrofit that in with whatever they personally decide. That's not going to be an issue.
Okay. Ugbor, are you able to help me with a strength check?
For what?
Animal handling?
That's not strength.
Nope, sure.
That's wisdom, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Akbar's going to wrestle.
Hell,
Akbar's going to wrestle your animal into
could you help me
submission.
with this wisdom save? With this wisdom check? Hell, could I get a little help with some wisdom?
I mean, I could help you, but
Or
don't you have your flex thing you could do?
Okay.
I'm doing that too. I'm gonna go all in on this.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
F it up.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'll get your animals rounded up. We'll get them tied to a hitch, and we will bring you in slowly, and I'll teach you all about your animals. We'll go over it all at the same time, roughly the same. Just pay attention. Give me a couple minutes, and then he turns and leaves to go collect your animals and grabs a couple of farm hands on the side as he goes in. So
Should I enlarge Flint?
So you guys have a couple minutes before it's time for you to go to your
That
animals.
sounds like something Jeremiel would be asking.
Right. You get on the griffin as soon as you go to train and enlarge you, scare the griffin.
Guys,
Oh, I thought you said engorge, not enlarge. No, never mind.
Enlarge.
we should find funny pictures of horses and make it be a horse. And then
Yeah, now I'm gonna go back and check and see how much.
I erased some of them.
God, these pictures are good.
Okay, these are amazing. Like, I was mad in the moment, but
Well, he's died in the desert. I'm trying to wake him back up.
That's not how you wake up a horse.
No,
The
not like
training
that.
manual it said so.
Oh no. We need this guy to come back right away. Hey, buddy. How do we wake these horses up? Because we have a disagreement. Settle a bet.
This is my horse right here. Yep,
That
I'm done for the day.
that horse is me on a spiritual level.
All right. All right, guys, we're ready for you to come on in. And as you guys get corralled into the area where the horses and griffins are tied up, we'll pick up there next time for you to train your animals and get ready for your travel.
Huzzah!
Time we're done, this is what my horse can do.
Excellent, guys.
He